Yup. Shout out to everybody out there in the world listening, tuning in every week per usual. The CA Podcast. If you're new, I appreciate you. Make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell on the YouTube channel. If you're listening on audio platforms, make sure to leave a review and make sure to check out the visual on YouTube. We're there every week. Club Ambition is the YouTube channel. And make sure to also show love to the Chub Corner.
Hey.
Here, per usual, Marlon and Erlen, the producers, doing their thing.
Well.
You know you got to.
Episode 34.
well.
You know what I'm saying?
To the Chubs.
34 episodes in. You know, doing our thing per usual. And this week you have a special guest, someone that I love having conversations with. A mutual friend, one of my best friends of lifelong, has, you know, been connected with him through blood for a while. Basically her whole, because you're older than her, obviously, so her whole life, life you've been her uncle. He's
not
been
her cousin. Not
her cousin. You know, and a very interesting mind that I've had conversations with, very knowledgeable of everything that's happening in the city when it comes to especially politics, actual laws, actual things that matter on a day-to-day basis, actual changes. You know, he's a great person to ask any advice when it comes to this, and he has a lot of things going on himself, a young entrepreneur. And yeah, appreciate him joining this week to cover a couple topics and conversations. Travis Escobar.
Thank you. I got the suit to match.
Got the suit. He had a busy day, so he's wearing a suit today. You know what I'm saying?
I was saying the first guest to wear a suit.
To wear a suit, yeah.
All right.
Yeah. You know, let's pretend like you just wore it for the podcast.
Yeah.
Let's feel special. That's why I kind of thought, I was like, okay, this guy's taking this shit serious. He came with a suit. But then it's like, oh, no, he had a suit day. He was working around. He just said, let's keep it on. And I respect it. But let's pretend that you came for the suits for us only.
Hey, black and red, matching the
black and red, matching the logo,
yeah.
You know, doing your thing, you know, inspiring us to, you know, maybe pull a suit out or two in the near future.
Nah, you dress fly.
You know, trying our best.
Yeah.
Trying our best. You know, it's going to be hard getting Marlon in a suit, but we're going to try to pull it off. We're going to try to one day all wear suits in here.
Good luck with that, bro.
That's going to be crazy.
Call it the suit corner after that.
The suit corner.
I am not a suit person, bro. I wore that shit once. It was for, what was it, prom?
The prom night. He did wear one for prom
I
night.
gave that shit away the next day.
Yeah,
But it was nice though. You was looking fly, nice and
with the blue. Remember, he had the blue.
Man,
yeah,
fuck
the
that
blue,
shit.
The light blue.
The gold too.
The light blue and gold was really nice.
Listen, next time you're going to see me with a suit, it's going to be my wedding. That's it.
Oh, God bless. That's good.
You know,
I thought you were going to say some negative shit. I thought you was saying funeral. I'm like, damn.
Bro.
God damn, I don't know why.
Get married, I think. You know, I would hope so.
Wait, what'd you say?
One of us.
What, that's going to be a while from now?
Yeah, anyone. You know what I'm saying? All right, you know.
Someone's
Damn,
wedding.
This motherfucker
Someone's
said
wedding.
in my casket, bro. You know what? I better not have a suit in my casket.
You
Oh.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
How you want to rock?
You
How
wanna
you want to
rock-
rock in the casket?
Bro,
on a
listen,
racetrack
birthday
suit.
suit, bro.
A birthday
Don't
day. with
Naked?
one leaf
With
back
the,
to
you know,
Naked?
back to the
some
old
Bad Bunny
days.
shit.
Oh, my God. What the fuck? I never heard that.
Hey.
What the hell? A lot of people,
You won't put that in your will.
Watch.
I need
Watch.
the birthday suit.
I mean, that'll be funny, though, because like, the whole family were like, oh, that'll be like a humorous thing. Like, oh, wow, like, he's still entertaining us. Unfortunately, when he's fucking dead, is like, God damn, it doesn't get.
Knock on wood, but nah,
Knock on wood. God bless. That's very, very gruesome.
Yo.
But it's good to start off a bit lighthearted. We're gonna ask Travis some more personal questions towards the end, but we're gonna start off with the style of Rhode Island topics first, local topics, and then we're gonna get into cultural topics. But yeah, it was good to start off lighthearted because there's definitely some sad news, unfortunately, happening, especially close to home, literally in our hometown. Rest in peace to these 4 kids who have passed away in a car accident. They're young adults, but I say kids because they're very young souls. Rest in peace. There was an accident that happened last week, May 31st. It was reported in Connecticut. There was a crash. 5 people were injured. 4 of them passed away, and one of them is seriously and is still in serious condition, critical condition in the hospital. And their names are right here. 21-year-old Yaslin Perez, 21-year-old Erika Perez. They were sisters. 21-year-old Lisandra Terrero Alemonte was killed in an accident, all 3. And they might be, the driver right here, Johan Santana, 18-year-old Johan from Providence, the youngest one. He was a driver, has also passed away. Rinel Alfonso Lopez, 21-year-old from East Providence, is the one in critical condition. Rest in peace to those fallen 4 lives specifically as well. I know my sister was friends with Yasiel and then Johan. I think she went to school. Yaslin and Johan she went to school with. He was a PCTA student, I think, from what I remember her telling me. So, and he's my sister's age too, 18 years old. So that was very sad news to hear. The city was mourning their death, especially so many lives like all together in an unfortunate situation because yes, you know, there's alleged drinking and driving, whatever the rumors may be, but then also they weren't wearing their seatbelts. By the end of the day, they were having, you know, a good time trying to be, you know, kids with their friends on the lake, and then that's how life is. One moment you're here, and one moment you're gone, so you got to appreciate it while you're here. And, yeah, man, prayers for everybody. Let's be safe this summer. Let's hopefully not hear any more stories like this at all. I thought it was rumors at first. I saw everybody tweeting these names, like rest in peace to this person. I'm like, what is going on? There was no stories about it. But then in the morning, I'm searching on Facebook, and then the stories are there. And it was like, what? Is a crash in Connecticut? I'm like, what? It's not even in Rhode Island. What's going on? So very sad news to hear. They had a fundraiser last night. I heard it went well at the Levels Lounge, I believe, where they a couple of them worked. From 3 to 6 p.m., they had a fundraiser. They raised a lot of money for the families. The GoFundMes as well. The GoFundMes are getting a good amount of money raised. Good for them, for the families, for the funerals and stuff. But yeah, that's very sad. Imagine that, having to bury your child, especially like the 18-year-old, because he's the youngest, the 18-year-old driver. But just in general, you know, you hear your kids, you let them go out to hang out with their friends, and like they're having a great time. Obviously, it's summertime. But then you get the phone call. Unfortunately, they passed away in a car accident. Like, that is like as gut-wrenching as it gets. Like, that's very crazy. So prayers for those Providence, Rhode Island individuals right there that have passed away. You know, you guys, none of you didn't know them, none of them, right? Or heard of none of them?
Nah, I didn't.
We thought at first it was the Erica from Classical, but it wasn't.
Yeah, nah.
Identical name,
Erica
which
Perez,
is
yeah,
crazy
both
with the
same.
K and everything.
I didn't know none of them, but yeah, please don't drink and drive. You know, allegedly that's what was happening, so please don't drink and drive. Call somebody, get picked up, Uber, anything. And wear your seatbelt too. I know it's uncomfortable, I know it's getting hot, whatever, but it saves lives. It really does. So please, like, you know, take care of yourself.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, man.
I think when I saw that story broke, and I don't know any of the individuals personally, it kind of it hits a chord when you see a story like that, because I think about when I was in college partying. There's actually very few people that I don't know that don't have an experience where they had a close call. Whether it was, I got a friend, very successful, survived a really dangerous, you know, drunken driving experience. Again, very young. This is the same age as these kids here, these youth, you know, these young people here. And I had an experience, party down at a URI club. I'm forgetting the name. Bonneview Club. A club down there again, very young. One of those days,
Yeah.
I was just about to start a paid internship I hustled for. A couple of my people all either have families, successful, things like that. You know, one of those things where you get Wendy's, you think like you calm down, you think, you know, after a long night drinking party, whatever, we got wheel pop, we got spun around. I remember that yesterday. I'm like, oh, is this it? And I've always worn my seatbelt.
Yeah.
I had a mentor that I'm not driving unless you put your seatbelt on. Yeah. But before, there was a culture of like, you take the seatbelt off, you're low,
Chilling.
you know, you're low.
Yeah.
For fashion.
Yeah, cool. Fashion and whatnot. Had my seatbelt on, but I had a friend didn't have the seatbelt on. I remember them getting risen up on the passenger seat. We spun around, crashed. Everyone was fine. But I thought it was like, damn, if something happened, like we're not here. We would joke around, so like the whole team almost got lost. So when I saw that, I think about those experiences. I think about all the stories that I've heard, and I don't know what necessarily you do in terms of, like, I almost, we joked about my niece. I almost want to text my niece and been like, yo, don't drive with someone if they're drinking. And I already know her response would be, she should be like, I know. But I don't
That reminds
just
us
I mean R.I.P. But it's just one of those things where I know too many examples, and thankfully the people I know that have been okay, and it's just sad because if something unfortunate happened to me in that experience, right? It's just young people lost, and the people that were in that car, successful people right now. And the one thing that stuck with me that even gives me chills right now is like a loss of potential.
Yeah.
You don't know what those young people were gonna end up being, and that's a sad thing. I think I heard one of the people were involved with, youth leadership. The mayor knew that one of the individuals. I don't know the name, but it's one of those things you don't know what these potential these people are, and I don't know. I don't also know how you put safeguards on things like this.
No, it's very true. I would say definitely advocate for at least the seatbelt usage. Every time you're in a car with people, make sure everyone's wearing a seatbelt. That's the minimal thing you can really do. Because to be honest and to be very blunt, I know people that literally drink and drive every weekend. It's like a common thing. Even if it's like a little bit of you're sipping on something, you're still drinking and driving.
Mm.
You're not necessarily drunk, but people drink and drive all the time. So it sucks. I definitely would say try your best not to, but at minimal rate, wear your fucking seatbelt.
Yeah.
Wear your seatbelt. Always. You're in a car, driving is so dangerous. You could be not drunk and innocent and you get rammed by an idiot. Random people just drive bad and just hit you, and then God, that might be your day, God forbid, but just please wear your seatbelt because at least you get that safety precaution. Because I think a lot of airbags don't even go off if you don't even have your seatbelt. So if you don't even wear your seatbelt, sometimes the airbag won't even go off. So it's you're limiting your safety completely.
Mm-hmm.
You're preventing a potential, actual safety net that can save your life in that moment. But, people don't know. People be stubborn sometimes. Oh, put the seatbelt behind your back or whatever, that weird shit. But fuck that. I wear that shit on my chin. Even if it hurts, I'll fucking wear that shit right there. If it fucking feel uncomfortable, you got to wear that shit. And I go like this. Make sure it's tight. You got to like that. Pull on it. Because sometimes it's too loose. It's you're not making it work. You got to make that shit work. But yeah, that shit's very serious. And also, shout out to Rhode Island. Speaking of kids, Rhode Island schools are getting death threats. Rhode Island schools are getting death threats or threats in general, let's say. And the district communications have emailed teachers. This has happened in Rhode Island and specifically also Massachusetts. Police were investigating. This happened, I believe, last Friday. And there was an incident that happened recently at Nathaniel Green that has been locally controversial. The mayor and a lot of teachers and students, parents are calling for the principal's actual resigning because of that situation with the handgun that was allegedly seen but not reported fast enough. And then the scare of the teachers, the confusion between the teachers, staff, and actual parents picking up the kids. But then afterwards now we've gotten, which I'm hearing allegedly was actually a parent that might have called in to one of the schools. And some people were saying it was John. Do we have a school around called John F. K. or something like that? JFK, something,
Yeah,
John.
my niece goes there.
So it was what I think I heard that school was mentioned as one of the schools that got the threats.
I think it's I should know. I think it's Robert F. Kennedy.
Robert F. Kennedy.
Yeah.
John F. Kennedy's brother.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I knew it was one of the Kennedy brothers.
Mount Pleasant area.
Yeah.
In that area.
Yeah. So one of those schools specifically was allegedly a part of this situation that got the threats. But everybody be safe. I say when it comes to shit like that specifically though, because one thing is obviously you go out. You could be safe by your own, do your own thing. But when it comes to schools and kids, if you're getting threats, I'm surprised they wouldn't pull the plug. I would call just remote learning, do remote learning for this whole week. I would do it. But then some people see that as too dramatic, and I get it. But it's if you're getting threats, as a parent, I'm looking at that shit hold the fuck up.
I don't want to send my fucking kid to that, bro.
Yeah.
The moment they did that shit, they called my sister-in-law and shit to go pick up my niece and shit. And I was like, yo, I wouldn't even fucking send them to school. Regardless of it being a threat, a joke, or whatever the fuck it is. Fuck that with everything that's happening right now. I'm not taking a fucking chance.
That's the thing.
Fuck
Knowing
outta here,
all
bro.
the circumstances with schools all around in the country, man, that's not something you could just take lightly. Especially how the cops have been treating it like it's nothing.
And it's children, you feel me? So you got to take this shit more serious because they've done that shit at my job. They've called and made fucking threats and shit like that. And we've locked up and waited and see you see motherfuckers gonna pull up and shit like that. It's happened to me, you know what I'm saying? But it's it's different. It's, us our age, we can try to handle a little bit different. But kids, bro, come on.
Yeah, it's too
Yeah,
risky with
kids.
kids because it
Right.
happens with like even like on a playful level with like streamers. What's it called? Swatting.
Swatting, yeah.
They do that with
swatting.
streamers with like gamers and stuff online. People will call in, like they'll find out the area, the location that they live, the house, and they'll call in police and like just lie, and then there'll be like a SWAT team during the live stream. That happens a lot. So people jokingly do that, but when it comes to kids, it's like, I hope nobody's really joking, and I also hope that no one's even doing it in general. But I would take it serious no matter what.
Yeah,
I think
no,
there's gonna
100%.
be some accountability when it comes to the specifically. It's like I don't want to be biased, but it's like specifically at least the Providence School Department, like something needs to be done where it comes to that. Like no news outlets reported this. Like I was the only one that really posted it locally, and at the same time, I was speaking to parents that were going through this. I was speaking to teachers that were DMing me like, yeah, this has really happened. And I was confused. Like, why hasn't no local news station reported this? Like, that was very odd. The Nathaniel Green situation, the same thing. It took them like a day later to report it. And it's like, there seems to be this weird energy.
So a couple thoughts. I'm on the school board. I don't know.
Oh, really? So
Yeah, I'm on the private school board.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So was it your fault, Travis?
And
So
and
what's your
and-
position there?
And we have so just to give more context, we're currently the Providence School is under a state takeover. I don't know if y'all
No idea.
let me know where I should stop. Okay.
So new management?
So new management.
New management.
So right now Providence Schools, and this happened right before the pandemic, went under the control of the state. So the current government, around Department of Education, our commissioner, Angelica Infante Green, they have the control over Providence Schools. And as a school board member, so I'm appointed by the mayor. I was appointed by the mayor, but takeover. Essentially, we're in an advisory board aspect, but we've been hearing, we've been getting updates as much as we can, and the school board definitely wants to have an accountability structure on anything that's being sort of controlled or maybe even mismanaged in some aspects for the school district, but also want to praise things that go well, right, under this takeover. And the reason why this takeover happened is Providence Schools has been underperforming for decades, and there was sort of an aspect politically to take over the school district and change a lot of the aspects of the teacher contract. I won't get too far in depth into that aspect, other than I think the individuals that want to do that want to have higher accountability for teachers, and also change some of the seniority aspects of labor union contracts. And I think in general, just try to increase a higher quality education workforce in the schools, and individuals that are in that policy field can debate, whether that was the right strategy to go and change the teacher contract. But to go back to the topic we're talking about right now, what I'm focused on is I don't know, not that I don't know, Providence families, I think, struggle in terms of who do I go to for this situation. I think we're seeing that. And what the school board will look to do is to either Kenzel Thomas, our president of the school board, he's been talking to a lot of parents. He lives really close to Nathaniel Green. He's been looking to get some answers about what happened over in that school. I think we're listening. I think there are solutions in terms of working to that voice, because at the end of the day, we want to make sure Providence Schools is safe. In general, everyone feels that it's safe to go to, and this is bigger than Providence, right? This is an American problem, right? What's going on? That's just ridiculous. If you're a parent, you should feel good about bringing your kid into the public school system. And whether that's gun legislation, whether that's just security around our school systems, I'm one of those aspects where I do believe we need stronger gun control, but I'm also very realistic of where we're at politically in this country. And if it means we need to take resources and sort of protect at least our school systems and making sure there's other aspects where we can prevent mass shootings, I think we need to look into that as well. But in Providence, we're doing our best, at least on the school board, to sort of like hear families, express our concerns to the state and make change happen. And I would say that's been more of the leadership of the school board, but I've been hearing a lot of it, and it's just sad. You know, I don't have a child that's going to the school district, but you know, to what are a lot of conversations we had here, I would be afraid. I think a lot of people in this country are afraid right now when they drop their kid off to school.
100%.
It should be the safest place in the world, especially if you're going to work. You want them to be somewhere where it's safe, they're learning, but it's become, you know, the opposite. And it's always been a thing, but I think when it comes to like the numbers as well, because mass shootings happen all the time, but when it comes to like specifically the numbers, that's what scares people, like the number of deaths, especially the last one, not the last one, because there was more after, but the major one that happened in Texas, which we're going to discuss later on as well. And then the Nathaniel Green thing was like probably like a day or two after the Texas situation, which was also like, wait a minute, what the fuck? It felt kind of weird, like what the hell's happening? But yeah, let me know, how does that process work? I'll be on the school board. I would love to potentially, if that's even a possibility, I would love to, you know, get behind the scenes as well, see what's going on with that. Cause
we should definitely get you appointed to like a board or commission.
Oh hell yeah!
It get you heavily involved.
I'll rile some feathers up.
So here's the thing about the school board. It's a diverse board. There's young people on there right now, similar to your age, and it represents the city. And right now, under the current structure with the state, what we're seeing is, you know, it's a statewide infrastructure that's running Providence that obviously don't necessarily have to really listen or hear the concerns of families, right? If you live in Warwick, you live in different parts of the state, you're not necessarily, it's not like our president who lives a couple streets away from Nathaniel Green legitimately getting like, hey, what's going on with our school?
You guys are more on the ground with it, but related to then the state that's actually dealing with the overhead.
But the power is shipped away, and look, a lot of these people that went into the takeover again pre-pandemic, I think there was good reasons in terms of like good intent, because the schools have been struggling for a really long time. Yeah,
when it comes to like the grading and like the actual the scores and the averages compared to the statewide and nationwide, actually, obviously. That's always was a thing. I remember that, especially going to classical, that was discussed a lot. Like the SAT scores of Rhode Island and everything was always controversial, and we were like always in the lower, everything lower.
Yeah, but here's the thing, and this is how I think you improve education. Teachers have to be paid more adequately. Yeah, you know, the starting salary for a Providence school teacher is in, you know, $44,000. You go to school, right? You become a teacher, $44,000. You can't really afford to live by yourself in Providence right now. Yeah. That's a problem. And a lot of individuals, I mean, we just talked about that. You hustling, you know, out here, you know, there's people that just work in an online game, getting other jobs, or making more money, doing other things, where they don't have to necessarily be a teacher, even if you have a degree, right? And one of my concerns is if you don't have the human capital in the buildings that are paid well and just are in a space where they can succeed, the whole system is going to struggle. I think if you pay teachers adequate wages, I would start at $75,000 a year minimum, but I would treat them same way big corporations treat their employees, like give them some bonuses, give them aspect for raises. Oh yeah. If they're good solid teachers. Also, let's try to get professionals in different fields easier pathway to become teachers if they want to become teachers, right? I think that's a big change that needs to be talked about, needs to happen, because the economy is shifting. And there's a lot of young, talented individuals going to look like, do I want to become a teacher and deal with all of this bureaucracy, red tape, in school buildings that are really old, and I might fear for my life in that aspect? Or do I want to take this remote job for $20,000, $30,000 more, have more of a hybrid atmosphere, and you know, live a different life? And you're gonna have this next generation think about what they want to do. And I don't think a lot of policymakers are necessarily thinking about that in the future. And I wouldn't even say this about Providence, Rhode Island. I would say this about like our whole country
in general.
We need to treat teachers as one of the most important jobs in the world, period. When your doctors are mostly well paid, right?
Yeah,
I would, you know, some doctors, I think it might vary, but if your doctor's making $44,000 after all these years, I know they go to residencies and all of that, but like, let's say when your senior doctor is not making a high quality amount, you know, they might not give all the best treatment. Yeah, and maybe that's like the best comparison, but people look at like doctors, lawyers, like teachers need to be paid in that infrastructure.
They need to be paid
pretty much
something more, no matter what. An increase is necessary, especially just in general. Like I would love for it to be 75, but even if it's like to 50, 60 average or higher, whatever the case may be, is definitely needed because of the fact that, especially being a student for so long, I remember dealing with teachers all the time and like how essential they were to my day to day, especially to the kids that were going through a lot of shit. A lot of kids don't have great parents, or their parents weren't around, so the teachers became the parents. And a lot of times it was a great thing. You have great conversations, great repertoire, or it was a bad thing. A teacher might get a freaking chair thrown at their head and the fucking bleeding and gushing, and like they have to deal with that. And a lot of times teachers still deal with it, and they come back eventually to work, and it's like they know it's a part of the process of being a teacher, dealing with these kids who are a product of their environment. They have struggles at home, they have struggles outside of the school, and they come into the school and they're going to behave how they're going to behave. So aside from just teaching them textbook education, 1 + 1 = 2, there's a lot of situations that matter, in my opinion, more than the actual, you know, book and the information that they're getting. It's the actual experience. I feel like it's more key and essential, because a lot of people, you know, they miss that. Like they don't deal with a great teacher. They don't have a great repertoire with the teacher, and then in the future you really regret it because you needed some sort of guidance, you know. And a lot of teachers have saved a lot of kids from being lost, and to this day there's so many lost souls because they fucked up in school. They don't have parents. They don't got no guidance at all. So I think teachers definitely need more. I always felt that way.
More counselors, more mental health support.
More counselors, 100%.
Yeah.
There needs to stop being like a one counselor for the whole school. It's like there's hundreds of kids here. We need more than one counselor. Like that's mandatory. Like by default, we should have a couple counselors in here rotating on schedule, doing their thing. But moving on, last topic of the day when it comes to Rhode Island. Oh, actually, we could talk about this real quick. So tomorrow there's gonna be a special election for those who are interested in voting. Providence is considering borrowing up to $515 million for the pension fund. And I'm pretty sure, do you know more about this specifically? Can you kind of sum it up for, what do they say, layman's terms? In layman's terms, for people who don't understand what this is.
The city's in debt.
The city's in debt.
The city's in debt, and this is shifting around debt. I don't necessarily want to. I don't. What I would say, if you this is I think is the best thing to say about this. If you care about the city of Providence, you live in the city of Providence, or you own real estate in the city of Providence, do a quick Google search, look up what this is, and go vote based on your opinion. I don't want to necessarily put an opinion out that is pro or against. I don't necessarily view my role in the situation to necessarily do that, because there are people that have arguments each way.
On both sides,
On both sides. I will say something needs to be done about our pension. There's serious conversations about Providence going into bankruptcy, and you could do quick Google searches on how Detroit went to bankruptcy, how that impacted them. And I don't want to spend too much on that because I know we have a whole bunch of other stuff. But I would say Google's your friend. Google's your best friend. Go on there. But if you love Providence, you live in the city of Providence, especially if you're a property owner of Providence, go do some searching and get yourself educated and make a decision. But go vote. Yeah,
you can vote. I think anyone in Rhode Island, any Rhode Island citizen, right? Any Rhode Island, Providence citizen specifically is eligible to vote tomorrow or today. If you're listening to today, obviously, where it comes out Tuesday, the podcast today, you can go and vote, do your research on it. But I think it's pretty cool because a lot of people don't know that especially like I feel like my generation is not really up to speed when it comes to shit like that. And
A
then
lot of individuals not.
Yeah,
to
and then when it comes
special
to-
elections, just come at you. Sometimes.
yeah, special elections come out of nowhere. And at the same time, it sucks because we're talking about $500 million that is gonna potentially affect the state. However it affects it, time will tell. But whatever's made with that decision is such a key situation, right? But then people don't know about it or don't care to know about it. It's pretty weird. Like, you know, but it is what it is. People think like it's just a mayor election or the governor election. There's actual other elections that matter. And if you get a decision in it, you know, I think it's fucking pretty cool, especially if you're in the higher bracket that this is going to affect directly, like you said.
If you're a taxpayer,
Yep.
go vote.
Yeah.
Go vote.
But speaking of Providence, Rhode Island, this was last night at Lovera Lounge. We were talking about this a bit off camera. There was a fucking pool inside of the nightclub, Lovera Lounge. That's right. And this is a topic that universally I think is bound to go viral, whether it's this clip or just us talking about it right now. Insanity. I've never seen nothing like this in my life. This is the most Dominican thing I've seen in a while. Like, it's
He's
pretty
having
crazy.
a lot of fun.
It's pretty crazy. And my thing is, how do you go about this? Like, what is going? Is the city, like, are you gonna get a fee? Is this legal? Is this illegal? The club was promoting this. I'm assuming it was legal. And at the same time, who the fuck is jumping in that water? I'm not jumping in that water. Is this water heated?
That shit's crazy.
Like, is this water heated? Like, isn't the club is not necessarily hot, but it's not necessarily cold. It's usually like, you know,
Is the filter running?
is the filter running?
There's no
What the
Clorox in
fuck?
there, bro.
How do you drain this pool? This is not a fucking inflatable pool. This is a real built pool that they had to build. And you see the ground, they seem to have like a carpet layout for it. Madness. And I don't know how the fuck this fit in Lovera. Like, this is crazy.
So I gotta ask my friend. He DJs a lot in like the Massachusetts area, and there's actually a club in Lawrence that has like indoor in-ground pool, and they have like little kiosk things that you could chill around the
Now
pool.
that sounds fire.
And like, but it's
That's
in the
different,
club.
though. That
like,
shit's built
nah,
in.
yeah, I
Yeah,
don't know what the
this
fuck.
is-
that
But is
is.
it Spanish? Is it Spanish run, those
Yeah.
clubs?
This
Yeah.
is they went
Really?
to Walmart.
Yeah,
and
they just bought
put
a.
that shit. Yeah, you
They
know
built
what I'm
it today.
saying? My brother put that shit up for my nieces today.
It's
the same one.
That same pool?
Yeah, same one.
Nah, but yeah,
It's a big ass pool, bro.
in Lawrence though they do have. So I guess they're trying to incorporate a little bit of the indoor pools. Not indoor
Marketing.
ground, but-
It
Yeah,
works.
yeah.
Locally now, people are
Summer
like,
too.
what? But they took the post down. But I don't know if they're gonna repeat this again. But
That's crazy.
I don't know what's happening here.
It's not that hot in there.
This is viral in my eyes, and it's like, this is so bizarre, but it's happening here in my city.
Bro, if yeah,
No invite?
shit like that, like,
No
you know,
invite.
buy a pool at your crib.
How much
it's
you
gonna
need to
be-
go into
it's
the
gonna be
pool?
cleaner. Go to the beach or some shit.
Listen,
It's like you're gonna go clubbing. I'm going for the pool.
that just added an extra $50 to the entrance.
Extra
right
$50.
there.
oh my god,
Dirty as fuck.
and there's no dryer in there. Like
Clean it
no,
once a week, maybe.
maybe
You know what I'm
free
saying? Do they have
towels. Free
towels?
towels.
The towels.
What do you do when you hop out the pool?
You gotta bring your own.
You go back to the hookah. The hookah's gonna be
You know
wet.
You know how many motherfuckers gonna slip and fucking sue that shit?
Yeah, that shit.
Come
Yeah,
on.
that's
It's a money
Yo,
grab.
the
That's a
water
good
splash,
point. That's a
yeah.
good
They
point.
gonna, what the?
I'm gonna drown in that pool next week.
Hey.
Let's do it,
Yo,
Lovera.
we out next
First
week.
drowning,
Lovera.
become a millionaire.
The moment you walk out, the moment you walk in, it's a bunch of fucking wet signs. Like, what the
Photos,
fuck
yo.
is this going? Come on.
Hey.
Look on Twitter, they say Providence ain't popping. Rhode Island don't got a lot of stuff going on. And hey, there you
Come
go.
to our clubs. We got pools.
Oh my god, bro.
You know, who would have fucking thought we had a fucking pool
Yeah.
in a nightclub? That is
Crazy.
as bizarre as it gets. God bless. You know, hey, if you guys pay me enough, I can promote it the next pool event, and I'll dive in the pool. You know,
Yeah,
What'd you do? Would you do a pod,
Pod
in the pool?
podcast pool podcasting
Yeah.
might be in the way. I never heard of no one doing this. I think someone did it. I think Bobby Lee did it from like a bathtub once.
Yeah, that was like a thing, like bathtub.
Oh, they do that. The
streaming.
hot tub thing, hot
shit,
tub
yeah, yeah.
streaming. But a whole podcast set up in a pool. Lovera,
It's crazy.
$2,000, and I'll get it done. That's nothing for them. Oh my
I
God,
don't think it is.
bro. That's a $2,000 pool.
Yeah.
Oh, and that shit's probably still up. They can't take it down and then build it up. I think it's there permanently for the summer.
Yeah.
At this point,
If
They
they
better,
want, yeah.
the fuck.
That's a lot
I'd
of
be
work.
heated.
that's a
if
lot
I-
of labor.
I'd be heated if I'm at work. Yeah, you gotta put the pool up again today, bro.
You got the
I'd
pool
be
shift.
tight, bro. I'd be tight,
Damn.
bro. Fuck that shit.
Oh my God!
That's
But
crazy.
moving on to more topics. Another dead rapper. Unfortunately, yes, another dead rapper. This has been probably, I feel like, consistently at least once a month we talk about some
Almost weekly
rapper.
too.
Too
almost
much.
weekly. Almost
Yeah.
weekly.
Too much, yeah.
But definitely too much. We become numb to it, especially my generation. It's like a common thing. My sister talks about it all the time. She just turned 18. It's like all her favorite rappers are dead, especially the ones that she would listen to all the time.
Ugh.
X, Juice WRLD, and it's like Mac Miller even. So it's like, wow, it's like something that we just kind of take for granted, but it's reality. And this is Trouble out of Atlanta. Trouble DTE. Very, very nostalgic Atlanta, genuine classic Atlanta essence rapper. Mixtape heavy scene. Had a album with Mike Will. He was signed to Mike Will. Made it. Eardrummer Records, I believe. Def Jam artist as well. So he was label mates with Ray Shrimmer, Sway Lee, and them. Impactful. Very much connected to every camp. The Migos, Young Thug, everyone in Atlanta. Trouble's known, right? And unfortunately, this situation, they're reporting he's 34, but I thought some people say he was 35. But I'm going to just say 34 to 35 years old. He passed away at 35, 34 years old. He was in the apartments, Lake St. James Apartments in Conyers, Atlanta, 3:20 a.m., where he passed away. And it was a gunshot wound. And now the story has broken today where they're saying that it was a situation where he was visiting a female friend, and this female friend had a suspect break in while he was visiting the female friend in the middle of the night. And it was allegedly, or confirmed, I think now, an ex-boyfriend of hers.
Oh.
And it was a domestic situation where the police are reporting without any details, but I'm assuming it's like they might have had a dispute, or it might have been something that was already going on between them fighting. Or maybe they got into an argument once he arrived and saw Trouble there. I don't know. Maybe Trouble knew him. But nonetheless, the gentleman decided to kill Trouble, shot him, and he has passed away. And the gentleman is still alive. I think now he got turned in by the police. They got him. But very wild. Like, bro, this shit is so dumb. And my thing is, like, Atlanta's going through so much shit because back to back we have also breaking news. Metro Boomin's mother has passed away. She was killed.
That's crazy.
Metro Boomin's mother was murdered. Metro Boomin, arguably one of the best producers, if not the best producer of this generation, especially Metro Boomin is legendary producer. Made all your favorite songs with, whether you know it or not, and you probably know it because everyone knows his famous tags, right? But aside from him himself, he's a human who has a mother, and his mother has unfortunately passed away, and he was very close to his mother. I remember interviews he would bring her up and like her influence on him. Rest in peace, Leslie Joanne Wayne, mother of producer Metro Boomin, found dead near Atlanta. The family's grieving. They're asking for privacy. They're waiting for an autopsy to confirm the final cause of death. But it's suspected okay, so now we have it right here. According to her husband, I thought it was boyfriend, her husband, who is not Metro's biological father, is suspected of killing his spouse, then taking his own life. So he's passed away as well. So he killed himself. Wow. So it's a murder-suicide situation. Man, prayers for Metro Boomin. What the fuck?
Yeah, that was.
And he was tweeting about Young Thug and them, the YSL situation last week, and like saying prayers for them. But it's like, bro, look at this now. Prayers for you. Like, who would have thought? Like, this is diabolical almost. Like, what the fuck is going on in Atlanta? Like, the energy is so off. The Migos, on a lower level, the Migos allegedly breaking up, right? That situation. But on a higher level, the Rico case with YSL, Young Thug, Gunna, Strict, the whole camp. And now, Trouble's passed away, and Metro Boomin doesn't have a mother. It's very odd. I would say, God, please, definitely do your best to put your hand over that whole city, that whole area, that whole state of Georgia, because they're very important to the culture, especially hip-hop culture, black culture, everything that they do. They move the thread, the needle to everything that happens when it comes to hip-hop, and they're going through this tragic time, and it's like, I don't know I don't even know what to say about it. It's just, it's sad. It's all it is.
So, all right, I wanna take away the domestic violence,
Yeah.
that murder aside, because that's sad, and I wouldn't, with Trouble and black and brown artists like dying on a frequent basis, and what is being done.
Nothing.
What is being done? And I'm
Nothing.
talking about the first hip hop album I ever listened to was Biggie, right? He's already dead when I listened to his album,
Yeah.
right? Like that's what made me fall in love with hip hop, right? And it's 2022 and this is happening on a frequent basis. If this was pop artists, if this was rock artists, if this was TikTok dance influencers, right, there would already be campaigns and safeguards put in place from corporate entities that make money off of them to do something about it, to make sure that these individuals are safe. So why are black creators, creators of color, why is it so easy for them to be harmed, to be killed, right? To
Great point.
Like what is going? It's 2022 and I'm talking about individuals getting locked up.
Yeah.
People should be making money. You should be good.
Yeah.
How you getting locked up?
Yeah. You're millionaires now.
You're millionaires. What is going on? Because there's white-owned corporations making money off of these individuals.
Yeah.
So
100%.
So
best
what's
believe,
going on?
Best believe Trouble's passed away. Young Thug's in jail. You think that people aren't playing their music? Their streams are up now.
Yeah.
So who's making money? Not them necessarily.
No,
It's the record labels majorly. So that's the sad, weird dichotomy of this fucking music industry shit that's happening. And it's a great point because imagine, God forbid, these young pop stars like Olivia Rodrigo randomly murdered, Demi Lovato randomly murdered. Like, people will go crazy.
Imagine if NSYNC back in the day, someone shot up NSYNC. It's not funny, but there'd be a whole we need to stop violence against our music artists.
Yeah.
People would come out but since it's rap and it's hip hop,
It's like everyone's numb to it. Like, oh,
Well, the thing
just
is,
another
too,
day
is,
in hip hop.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that there's this stereotype is like their lifestyle and how they move and all of this shit and how they grew up. So it's like it's normal.
I think
So
we need a
that's the life
campaign.
that you chose. You guys are for the streets, this and that. You try to act big, whatever you get laid out, you got what you had coming to you. That's not how this shit works.
And I mean, that's a good point because it's like, that's probably how the labels are looking at it. It's like, all right, you are from the streets, you are doing this and that, you're always around guns, so you're making us this hot music right now. It's pretty much a time bomb until you're dead, because you're gonna still keep in the streets unless you're smart enough to be like, all right, I'm the breadwinner and I can hand off some money so I don't have to do none of the legal stuff no more. But a lot of these labels, they don't care. They're not going to give them that advice to those major artists because it's pretty much a bomb for them. And if they die, who's going to win?
Well,
It's the labels again.
The thing is, too, the streets are envious, man.
Yeah, and that's
The
a
streets
lot
are
of
very
hate, too.
envious.
Yeah.
And even as us, not being artists and shit like that, you can see it.
Yeah.
You can see, it's a normal thing. It's like someone would joke around, oh, my God, you're doing something now, huh? Blah, 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 you know what I'm saying? But it comes off as malicious and shit. So it's like, I don't know what it is with today's generation and just fucking, instead of putting work in and trying to fucking better yourself and shit like that, you put more work into fucking hating and focus on someone else's life and shit like that and just downplaying their shit.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Shit's a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a sketchy time right now, but I think it's a lot of factors. A lot of factors that come into play. I definitely think that to some degree change is needed when it comes to even the artists, because they can express themselves however they want. I'm all for it. I don't want nobody to be, especially when it comes to courtrooms like YSL, they're being prosecuted and they're using their lyrics against them. I'm totally against that. If that happens, that's gonna set a actual precedence that going forward is gonna be reoccurring a lot. People are gonna be able to be charged lawfully, wrongfully, due to their lyrics. So now
100%.
people are going to be forced, if that happens, to change their lyrics because you can't rap about certain things. They're going to use it against you in court. They can because it already happened, so there's proof that it worked. But I think that content to some degree needs to change. I do believe in energy. You put a lot of energy out there and stuff, but I don't think it's necessarily the pure cause. I think if it's 1% of the situation, it's 1%, but I do think that energy, needs to be put out. People need to wake up and this is not okay, but now what are we gonna do? Let's promote something more positive. Let's promote anti-gun violence. Let's do something. Like right now in Atlanta, there's a lot of major heads, a lot of major power makers, power plays, like power play makers, Gucci Mane, Jeezy, a lot of T.I., a lot of topper dogs that might be able to do some situation, a rally or something that can motivate people to at least get the energy out there, because I feel like energy is very underrated, surprisingly, because we all fucking have it, but I think a lot of people don't realize the power of energy.
Who's the guy that brought Drake and Kanye together? I forgot his name.
Oh, Jay Prince.
Yeah,
Yo, we need
we
Jay
that
Prince
guy.
on this.
Yeah.
Jay Prince.
Where's Jay
The finger,
Prince
yeah.
on this?
We need
the
Jay
finger on
Prince.
everybody.
You already know.
Atlanta needs God and Jay Prince.
For real.
Jay Prince needs to fucking go on live stream or something and just put a caption that says ATL and just
And put
point
the
at the
finger.
camera.
Put the
Point
finger.
at him.
Point at the
Put middle
camera,
finger.
and I feel like a lot of situations will be
They
resolved
gonna get it.
because something is fucking needed. This is ridiculous at this point. This is very sad, and God forbid next week we got more news to talk about. But at this rate, it seems to be the situation, right? But fuck it, man. This is fucking crazy. Rest in peace, Metro Boomin's mother and Trouble, Big Trouble, baby. Oh man, I was playing this fucking album all weekend. It's crazy, bro. That Weekend song, I forgot about the Weekend song. He has a song with the Weekend. I was like, what the fuck? This is a fucking slap.
I definitely that Drake track. too.
Oh no, yeah, that was the one.
That goes hard.
That was crazy.
Come on, bro.
That was the one.
That was
But
crazy.
speaking of unfortunately passed away rappers, XXXTentacion has released the documentary on Hulu last week. Did you guys end up watching it?
I haven't seen it.
Oh, you still didn't watch it?
I haven't seen it.
I watched it fully. Last time I watched it, but it was like briefly. This time I really sat down and watched it, and I love it. I'm not gonna lie. I think it was really good. From the top, it started with everything that we kind of knew. The thing about
Not
this,
to
it
interrupt you,
wasn't really
but-
new. Were you familiar with him?
Yeah. But question, was this ran through like his family, people that control his identity, or was this like Hulu owned or?
Yeah, so I learned, especially watching it the second time more thoroughly, his mother was the one that came up with this idea of the documentary. Shout out to Cleo. His mother, Cleo, I follow her on Instagram, and she's a young mother, and she wanted to put her son's story out there
Okay.
in a collective way, and I guess they sold it eventually to Hulu, but they had this documentary. You can kind of tell the footage is not necessarily new. But shout out to our mutual friend. He's there. Ski Master Slump God was heavily in this documentary. And so from the top, it starts off just the idea of X. It was a vlog. He started doing vlogs towards his last years of or last year before he passed away. He started doing more vlogs on YouTube and talking to his fans directly more and like very more rigorous like positivity. And that's how it starts off with that like vlog of him talking about his life and just wanting to kind of change his perspective or people's perspective on him. And like he's been doing negative energy or negative things and he wants to be more positive. And then it goes into the whole rise of his story and a lot of things that a lot of people know, especially if you're diehard XXXTentacion fans. It's a very, stereotypical, but at the same time unique story because you hear the come up stories of rappers rapping very young, rapping as a kid, and then making it as a star. But his story is very unique in the sense where you see, especially with this documentary, how he used violence literally as a tactic to market himself. And it was all strategic from a young age, and to a point it got dark. Ski Master Slump God addressed that where it was like a lot of people didn't want to be around X during a certain amount of time period because he got very dark and he would just want to fight everyone randomly, and it kind of took over him, this persona of like X and like not being Jase himself no more, and just wanted to fight people and being aggressive and wanted to go live and show these fights because it worked strategically because he started as a young rapper in Florida, Broward County. His mother raised him. His father passed away at the age of 10. And again, stereotypical story, right? When his father passed away, or no, not passed away, forgive me, he's in jail, incarcerated. His father's in jail. I think till this day he's still incarcerated. And I think he had like 10 years, which coincidentally, this kid died before his father was able to get out of jail. Like, I think he's still in jail, his father. But at 10 years old, his father was incarcerated, so this changed his life. He reacted how he reacted. He basically left the house. He was doing bad in school. His mother was like, go live with your grandma. And he kind of lived decent with his mother, but then he moved into with his grandma. Now his grandma lives across the hood. So now he's a part of the hood now, fully interacting with the hood and being caught up in things he's not necessarily supposed to be caught up in. He got kicked out of all the schools. A very, very like troubled like kid. And like early on in his career, you would see that, right? And then that led into his story of like how he blew up because the very unfortunate situation, the accusations that were proven right, especially if you listen to the documentary, watch the documentary, with the domestic violence case that he had against his girlfriend, Geneva. I forgot her last name, forgive me. But they got her story fully. And I was shocked, and especially because his mother okayed everything. Like, she greenlit this whole situation and is like, I want to get her story fully. And this was someone that was scrutinized so much. Fans, hopefully not to this day, but I remember X fans like coming at her because X had this sort of like cult energy and like a very strong, like vigorous, like surrounding around him, like a cult following, and people kind of were just like yes men, like they believed anything he said, right? But this girl was a victim of domestic violence on his hands. She said her story, and she didn't want to take him to court. It was a whole sticky situation, but then the state of Florida or something still prosecuted the case because they didn't want to allow her to drop the case or the charges.
So the documentary covered all of that.
Yeah,
too.
it covered everything.
Wow.
And it showed him like now going to jail and him calling her from jail and then saying like, you know, like, I'm sorry. I was like, and she's like, I want to drop the charges. Trust me, I want to drop them. But he's like, no, but if you drop them, you might be go to jail too. Blah, blah, blah. We got to figure this out. And then this whole situation of changing this situation for him. But then at the same time, his song's blowing up while he's in jail and his popularity rising. So by the time he came out of jail, he had no connection with her. He separated from Geneva. There was no connection at all, right? But then his career blew up. But then there was these allegations, you know, because eventually he came out of jail. So people were like, oh, it's not true. Or was it true? She was faking it for him. Another girl lying on another guy. Or like, this is a fake domestic case, whatever, right? They were young. They're kids. Questioning all this. But then in the documentary, you see her literally bruised eyes. You see everything. And you have eyewitnesses accounts of people that heard over in the next room his aunt. Or not his aunt. I think a producer's girlfriend or like a friend heard everything and saw like her face and everything. But then there's an old interview unreleased that they dropped, a fader interview, a brand new interview on the documentary where he's talking about it as well. And he denied everything. It was like in 2017, he denied everything. He was like, never hit her. She got jumped. I swear to God, she got jumped, this and that, blah, blah, blah. So it's like they're providing it where it's like a neutral base where you can make your judgment yourself on X without it being like a straightforward, like he's a criminal or she's.
This is from the mom. Like this is
from the mom. This is from the
From
family.
the mom. Okay.
Yeah,
and
family. Everyone's scene is within his house that they built, his mom's house, and they built a studio. And everyone's scene, everyone that's getting interviewed, his engineer that's getting interviewed a lot, Ski Mask that's getting interviewed a lot. It's in the studio, like X's studio, the same studio, but they'll switch the angles, but it's all in the same house studio. And I'm like, wow, like they really, this is all in house, and they really structure this themselves, and it's not a manipulated documentary, which I was kind of worried about. I'm like, oh, you never know. There's a lot of documentaries are that way, but this is like a genuine documentary that just provided all the facts, all the clips, all the information, and you make your judgment on it. And then it also leads up to his death, where his mother, literally, I guess. So the court case was happening with Geneva still because of the state. They were still trying to prosecute him or whatever. And then he had like a court date like he had to go to. And it was 2 days before the court date. And that's the day he died. Literally 2 days before the court date. That was something else. I was like, what the hell? Because he could have faced 20 years in jail. Oh. But then he died. And I'm like, these are things that I really didn't know. Like, it was such a tragic death when he died for me because I was such a huge fan of him. So I never really dived into like more research and stuff, and I really don't even listen to his music to this day because it just kind of makes me sad. But now revisiting it because of the documentary, it provided me a lot of insight on the family's account. You know, prayers to Cleo. They definitely went through a lot, obviously, as you would assume, but getting that bird's eye view perspective of literally, he just told her randomly like, oh, I just want to go buy a bike. Like, I just want to go buy a bike. And she's like, wow, you have so many bikes. He's like, oh, I just feel like going to buying a bike. And she was like, oh, go with security. And he's like, no, I don't need security. I just want to go by myself, blah, blah, blah. And then she made, I think, someone follow him or something. Like, he still had someone around or a friend or something. And he went to go buy the bike. And then you see him, literally the surveillance footage of him buying the bike, leaving the bike store, and then a car pulling up, a truck, and shooting him right there. and I think someone was in the car with him. The person that was in the car ran, but then he still was in the car himself, and he passed away. And the family shocked to this day, going through it to this day. It's a very tragic loss in the hip hop community. One of the biggest. I think if he was still alive, I think he could have been, because the thing is this, right? He did the domestic violence situation. I think he definitely was very guilty of it. But then she forgave him. She spoke about it in an interview, how she reached a state of forgiving him while he was still alive. And they would still interact. But then he still had to go to court, not because of her, because of the state. Because it was such a major case that legally you had to do whatever the judges say, the lawyers say, you got to do it. But she reached the terms of forgiving him, right? And it's still like, to me, it's clear, right? But factually, if you look at the whole documentary, it's kind of like, oh, it could go either way. But to me, it's clear that he definitely did some abuse to her. But I don't know. It's like, am I giving him a pass? I'm not necessarily giving him a pass, because if he was like an evil person and like you could just kind of call it out more. But if she's forgiven him and the family seemed to like move on, and then the mother was very accepting of her, especially now, it just seems like I feel like he could have had a major impact. He might have been able to be someone that was a voice for the people who might be doing this, and actually teaches people how to not do this. I feel like he would have stirred it a different way, because he was so creative that he could have taken it that way, and so powerful with his actual words and his actual influence. But the documentary is out. I recommend it. I think it's great, phenomenal, from top to bottom. A bit emotional, but also I feel like it's just more of like a factual situation from the people that were really around him, and I loved it. It was tough to watch, but hey, I had to watch, especially for the fans that were dying to hear me talk about it. But yeah, we loved him. He would watch our videos a lot. He was a fan of the channel, and watching the documentary kind of confirmed it, because you could tell how he was such a young kid, and like they would just like hang out with each other, him and Ski Mask and like his whole friend group, and just do young stuff, and like they would reach out to fans and support people that supported them back. And they had this tactic where they were like literally retweet each other's tweets to like generate traffic and like generate attention to his music and clips. And it worked early on. And I was like, wow, that was actually like very smart and wise. Like they had a lot of strategic situation that behind the scenes you would know, but from in front of the from in front of the camera or whatever it is, outside looking in, us as fans, we didn't really know, but the documentary gave you that perspective. So I would recommend people watching it. Shout out to Hulu. It's called Look at Me. The album comes out next week. There's a new album coming out as well for the documentary. I don't know how I feel about the album. I'm not gonna lie, but I think it's not new music. If you look at the track list, it's not new music.
It's not new music.
It's not new music, thankfully. But that's my thing.
About True Love, the single came out with Kanye.
I like that song, True Love. I like the second song. There's another song that they have together that's on the Donda 2 album. I think it's a bit better than this one, but I like this one, True Love. I think it's really good. But
it's
then
catchy.
it goes.
I hate when Ye just does like one verse and then out.
Oh man,
well, I hate when artists do that. One verse, I'm out.
Oh, Kanye's the worst and best at that. Like he always, you don't know what to expect with him. He'll do 30 seconds of mumbling and 50 seconds of bars. It's like, what the fuck is going on? But that's Kanye West. But it also showed you in the documentary how Kanye showed love to him. J. Cole, Kendrick. A lot of people love the kid. You know, he was up there when it comes to like potential. Like he was oh man, let's not even get into it. You guys know. Also, speaking of that same friend group, Juice WRLD, his girlfriend, Allie, there's this clip. We're going to play the clip. It's public, so we're going to play it. But technically, it shouldn't be public, this clip of her talking about the situation that has happened. I guess she's alleging or confirming. Let's hope the clip is still up. Yeah, the clip's still up. Wow.
I'm actually very surprised that the clip's still up, honestly.
It ties in what we were talking about earlier with the artist dying. And
ties in with everything.
Yeah, it's
to be honest.
crazy.
So when I press play here, you guys are going to hear it, but I can't hear it, right? So I'm going to play it here for Travis to hear it. Okay.
Hold up, pause it real quick. Because that's it's not getting fed into.
Oh, you don't hear it?
No.
Really?
No, it's Bluetooth.
Oh yeah.
How about now?
No.
Nah.
Really? 1 second. Let's see. Is this playing? Oh, this was down. That's probably what it was. There we go.
Heartbroken.
Okay, pardon that.
You can play it back now.
Pardon that, guys. From the top again. I was about to say, I thought this shit started glitching. I'm like, oh, this is the Illuminati. Yo, because this is some dark shit, and it's like, this is about to happen right now.
I was 2 days straight heartbroken over what's going on, and I've been quiet for the past year and a half plus into myself. Took myself away from everyone because I knew what was going to happen. If people knew what happened the day before Jared passed and the day that Jared passed and everything like that, which I cannot speak upon at this moment, but I will. I just have to make sure that I am safe. So please, one, don't show anyone this, but two, know that you guys have my full support.
Posted this, showed everyone, so it's like,
I cannot let Jared's legacy be what it is. Jared would never treat any of his fans like this, one, and two, would never, ever let.
What's she smoking?
what is those called?
It's always been about money.
You smoke those. You smoke those, no?
That's what God claims. That's weed,
This
though.
issue.
That's not weed.
I would literally sit on his lap every day and be like, don't go record. They don't need us. They don't need you anymore. You made so many songs.
So you get the gist. I don't want to play it fully. You get the gist.
Who is this? Who is this intended to? Was this supposed to be a private?
So this is allegedly
Video,
supposed
she
to be a
posted on
private
her-
video.
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
You know, on Instagram you can send videos of people. So this seems to be like those videos that people send to people on Instagram and you press play on.
Okay.
So like not necessarily like a video that you can save unless you screen record, which this individual seems to have screen recorded, whoever the hell this is, right? But there's so many angles to tackle this, right? So let's talk first what she's saying. For those who don't know, perspective is this. I think Little Bibby, a couple people on his team or his label, let's say, Grade A, which is the label that Juice WRLD was signed to. Juice WRLD, one of the biggest artists of all time when it comes to numbers, especially in his short-lived amount of years. Major impact, but he passed away, right? Obviously now, years removed, or about, is it years? It feels like it was yesterday, but I think it's years, right? It's been multiple years, no? 2 years almost, or about to be, let's say,
I think we're going.
I think we're about to be 2 years. Comment down below, correct us if we're wrong. But this label has now, they were promoting a potential release of an album. There was a single that came out and everything. But now they're saying that they're pushing his album back.
Mm-hmm.
And then fans are mad. I think maybe some of the songs leaked. There's always like Juice WRLD leaks. That's another thing, right?
There's a shitload of his shit leaked on SoundCloud.
On SoundCloud, right? So the idea is this. It goes back to what we were saying earlier, the idea of with like Trouble and like Young Thug, like people can go through whatever in life, but these labels are going to make money off the music.
Mm-hmm.
So people are frustrated, and it seems to be her specifically with what's happening when it comes to his label and maybe where the money's being allocated. Now, this is all allegedly, because I don't want to say this is a fact. Allegedly, right? Where this money's being allocated, whether it's from his music, his old music, his new music, or the plans going forward. And it seems to be as if she's against it. Now, this is breaking news and shocking because from the outside in, it seemed like she was cool with all of them. It seemed like, especially when you watch the documentary, right? At worst, maybe she might have been distanced because of everyone's going through their things. Like, we've been around this circle again. Like, I've been around DJ Scheme, which is one of his close friends. Chris Long, who started No Jumper with Adam 22. I have contact with him. Another one he was Juice WRLD's main photographer day to day. Like, he was very close to him. And they all told me the same type of stuff. Ski Mask told me the same thing, where it's like, they were sad, and it was a situation kind of how you saw in the documentary where the kid had an addiction, and it was bound to happen.
Yeah.
Whether it was that night or whenever, it was bound to happen. Now, there was instances where everyone started getting him help, therapy, whatever, consultation, but he was young, unfortunately dumb at times, and at the same time rich as fuck. So you put this young, dumb, rich kid in the fire, he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing with his life. And at the same time, he has his love for this girl, Allie, which is his girlfriend, if you watch the documentary as well, where she seemed to be indulging in the drugs as well.
Mm-hmm.
And she was very much, it almost felt like those love relationships that you see, like that they both do drugs. What's like a famous one, almost like a unfortunate, like a Bobby Whitney type of situation.
Okay.
Bobby Brown and Whitney Houston type of situation. That's how it looked like. That's how it felt like when you watch the documentary, and it sucks because then the situation is this: he died. So now, let's work on keeping his legacy intact. Now this is only creating more mess and more drama. What the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
First of all, you shouldn't have probably even released this music. If there's like complications, there's no really real agreement with what's going on, right? And his mother, I'm not really up to date with his mother, but because I know Pop Smoke's mother was the one that did like a nonprofit. I don't think, did Juice WRLD's mom do a nonprofit for him?
I don't remember.
Correct me.
I
Comment
don't
down below if
think
they
so.
did. I know a lot of these unfortunate dead artists' parents have done nonprofits after they passed away. But his mother, I'm not sure her stance on this, but we know his girlfriend's stance, right? And especially now, it seems to be as if, allegedly, the team, Little Bibby, DJ Scheme, Grade A, whoever's on that team is trying to keep her silent, she's saying. And she's almost as if I talk, I die. But why would it be to that level? Right? And now, is she clout chasing? Is she lying? I don't think so. I don't think so.
The thing that I'm having trouble
Because it's
with,
weird.
The thing that I'm having trouble with is like, at least what I'm getting from this video and shit like that, is like how you said, like how they're saying like the label and this and that, they're doing it, just whatever moves they're making and shit like that is just weird, or like they only care about the money, this and that. But it's like, she can't really say, or who knows, I don't really know, that like, I think there's one part there where they're talking about like they only care about the money, they didn't really help them out, this and that, whatever.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, then that's the case, right? But it's like, we knew off of the documentary and everything that he was heavy into drugs.
Yeah.
So it's not like, we can't really necessarily say that these people were feeding him that, because you can clearly fucking tell in the video that's how he was, and that's how he passed away.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's not more of like, we can blame them, you know, but, well, you can, obviously, because it's like, oh, like, everyone around them would just feed him sometimes or whatever. They didn't seek help. But it's like,
It would be, what's it called? Drug mule almost?
yeah,
Like,
remember that one kid was always getting him lean and shit like
Yeah.
that. But she was against him drinking lean or mixing and all of that shit. But she would sit on his lap and crush up fucking pills, have him, you know what I'm saying? So it's like,
yeah,
you're
because you don't
against
want
the
him.
lean and shit.
What's it called when
Uh,
people don't do drugs and they get withdrawals? I guess.
Withdrawals.
So they didn't want him going to withdrawals, so they had to keep him up to speed.
but
It's
come on.
crazy.
It's-
State to state touring, they would have to get him drugs wherever he went.
You're still giving him horrible shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not like oh, like you're keeping him away from like the bad heavy drugs and shit. Yeah, just smoke weed.
Yeah.
It's not gonna do you as much like harm like that. But I don't know.
Let's
And
make him
that's-
sick. That way he doesn't get sicker, but let's keep him sick
To me,
to
it's
some
hella
level.
confusing.
That's the
I
thing,
don't
is like
know.
cleaning up from anything is gonna be tough because your body's already used to it. Your
Right.
body like pretty much lives off that. So it's like you have to force them, lock them up, or put them somewhere that
Cancel the tour.
like, yeah,
Throw him in a room. Like it gotta reach that level.
withdrawals has to be the least of your worries, because that means it's working. Like that means
Yeah.
like he's you know,
Right.
going through that process. Like that's
Well, she said it there, right? Didn't she say at the end of the clip, you already have enough music, blah, 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 blah. They don't need us to record. Like, she would tell them sometimes to not record. Like, we don't need to record. Like, why are they making you record more?
Who was he signed to?
So, Grade A is the label, which was Little Bibby, who was a rapper from Chicago, and he turned into a label head. And I think G Herbal's brother, I believe. I forgot the relationship there.
Okay,
think
so
it's
not
G
like a
Herbal's-
major label.
No, but they turned into one of kind of, because they had Juice WRLD. Now they have
artists,
Kid
yeah.
Laroi. You know Kid Laroi? Kid
Okay.
Laroi. He's a major artist now. He has like the big Justin Bieber
But
song.
not under one of those like.
I think they are. They might be.
Okay.
Well, more likely they're like a sub label under a label. I would have to
Okay.
double check who. But yeah. So they're
Just
definitely
curious on
there's
that,
definitely a
yeah.
major label back into some aspect where there's management. He has some major label aside from just Grade A, for sure. I think it was Atlantic. I think it was Atlantic Records. Correct me if I'm wrong. But it's like, I guess everyone was just keeping it up because everyone was making money. Let's keep it up. Let's keep it going. But at the same time, like Ali was saying, whether she might be cloud chasing, however you want to interpret that, you can't deny the fact of like, first of all, she's not lying. when it comes to the amount of music, bro. How much songs have they dropped after he passed away? So she's not lying to that aspect. Like they had fucking hundreds of songs unreleased. So her idea of like, yo, let's stop recording, let's take a break for a while because you already have enough music.
Yeah.
You can just work this out and promote this after. She has it proven. There's a proof of concept there. And if he was alive, a lot of those songs could be hits. Like if he promoted them with videos and a lot of great songs.
Yeah, and the documentary you see.
Yeah.
In one session, he recorded fucking so
mad quick
because it was just off the top. Like,
yeah.
it was crazy.
Now some songs are scraps. Don't get me wrong, a lot of crap or whatever.
Yeah.
But if he was alive, I'm telling, it's like a different situation. Like he didn't go back and like add the ad libs, whatever. But I think it's a mess. It's definitely a mess of a situation with no clarity provided. But at the same time, it's like, bro, when you mix business with death, it's like, goddamn, like it's evil.
Yeah. So I mean, one, again, how are we gonna protect creators of color or hip hop artists in general, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's just no infrastructure for that. And two, if an individual passes away, like how do we have safeguards where their music is protected?
Yeah.
Right? Like we're getting more black billionaires, we're getting more billionaires who are artists, right? Why don't we have an infrastructure right now where creators of color could go sign to like a Jay-Z or I don't know. I don't know. It's 2022. Why we don't have this safe haven? We got people like Russ navigating independent.
Yeah.
Right? And, showing what could be done. Drake signed to Major League, obviously for a fat check. Yeah. But
he should have gone independent.
Imagine if we went independent.
That would have been crazy. That's why I was waiting, bro. That was one of like my like hip hop like fucking like dreams. I'm like, for years, I'm like, I know his contract's coming up. I'm like, yo, if he goes independent, it's gonna be a power play. But he didn't do it.
This information is available. That's all I'm saying. And I don't know. I don't know what.
Yeah, people want to do contracts now. I would say when you sign a record label, I would tell them what is gonna happen to my music when I pass away.
Yeah.
Control that while you're alive, because you're not doing that. And then what the fuck happens afterwards? It's almost as if, like, I could compare it to like life insurance or something. Like, you might be, God forbid, obviously a evil fucking comparison, but it's like you have a spouse and they know you have a crazy life insurance policy and they want to kill you because when you die, they're gonna get money. Pretty similar to a fucking record label where they have all this investment in you and they know when you pass away, your streams are going up. You're gonna be idolized.
I don't know if I even believe in the streams. do you believe in the like? I know
that's a whole nother fucking I feel like that's just all manufactured because I think they're making more money than they make it seem to the artists, but the artists are also naive because the reports come out. It's public information. Music industries make goddamn near trillions of dollars higher every year, and the artists are just like chilling, like, oh, I'm good with my couple million. Like, bro, do some research and realize that you're actually probably getting fucked. Yeah. Because everyone's transitioning to this streaming era without having a proper agreement. Because it's like, I feel like with anything, like with the iPhone, you get an update. Everyone gets an update on the iPhone. When this streaming situation happened, no one got like an update on the contracts or whatever. And if it happened, it probably was behind the scenes. No one was all like inquisitively informed. Like, this is how it's gonna go. This is what this means. And it seems like nobody cared. Yeah. Everyone's just like, oh, we're still getting money. We're still doing shows, whatever. But this is such a deeper situation. Juice WRLD's, bro, his streams. Let me check right now. Look at Juice WRLD streams from below the earth, buried, from while he's fucking passed away. Look at his streams, making more streams and making more noise. And look at this, 30 million monthly listeners. Yeah. On Spotify alone.
Yeah.
Juice WRLD.
A lot of people's favorite artist is not doing that.
Bro.
Alive.
Yeah.
Bro, that says, bro, I'm like, if I click on a random artist, let's see, Kodak Black's alive. Obviously, let's hope he stays alive forever. I love Kodak Black. 26 million. Yeah. And he's alive. Come on, bro. It's like that's one example right there. So, man, I hope Juice WRLD fans comment down below. How do you guys feel about this? If this is new news to you, because I know a lot of people are not reporting it. I chose to report it because I feel like it's important. I want her safety, obviously. I hope it's not 100%. Fucking a real situation, and I hope people address it. I hope DJ Scheme, I hope Little Bibby, I hope the Grade A team, that whole situation gets addressed to some capacity that's clearly provided for the fans, because if it is fake, whatever, address it. But if it's, don't just ignore it, because this is scary, bro. That's not a deep fake. That's a real video. That's her real face. That's actually her. So yeah, prayers for her, and hope that situation clears out and gets better. Moving on to another artist, Post Malone has dropped his album. This has been his lowest album selling wise since his first album. Overall, because his first album, and in general overall, out of all his albums, because his first album dropped and it didn't sell much the first week, Stoney. But I don't know if you remember when that album came out, that whole year, like months later, that album did numbers. Like, it was like a slow burn. Then months later, it did like 100,000 1 week, blah, blah, blah.
Especially when he started performing it.
When he went on tour and these albums like blew up more and more. Ooh, I fall apart. Those whole classic like Post Malone music songs that just blew up after. And it was like, damn, this is like a slow burn. You know, it's rare to see. And he had that with that album.
You a Post fan?
Oh my God, huge Post Malone fan. I wanna see him live. Like, it's crazy.
Like, you knew when his album was coming out, you prepared and everything. Like,
woo! Don't get us started, bro. We were on Post Malone SoundCloud.
Early.
He was a SoundCloud rapper.
no, I'm talking about this recent album. Like,
Oh,
you
yes,
knew
yes,
like
yes.
the promo and everything. You were getting hit.
Yes,
with it.
so
I know
was-
you plugged in, but I'm saying compared to other
I
artists.
was 100% because of just knowing Post Malone. But when it comes to everyone else, I can see where people forgot this album came out because the promotion was bad. There was like a lackluster sense of rollout for the promo of this album.
A lot of it was him just teasing on like social media.
Yeah, I saw the interview he did with Zane Lowe. Shout out to Zane Lowe, Apple Music, whatever. He's a legend, I guess. He has a crazy resume. But come over here, Post Malone. Let's stop doing Zane Lowe. Everyone's going to Zane Lowe for these Apple Music interviews. And in my opinion, I love Zane Lowe, but there's a lot of dick riding. Oh my, it's your best album yet. It's your best album yet. It's not his best album. And how are you going to tell him that to his face before the album came out without the world getting the opinion first? Now we're going to think it's the best album because Zane Lowe said it. It's not his best album. You know, but I guess you got to fucking, I get it. You got to
sell it.
You got to, he's in front of your face, so you kind of got to, you know,
Yeah,
Amp him up
lick
a
the
little
tip
bit.
real quick.
for lack of a better term, suck his dick real quick. You got to suck his dick real quick because he's right there. It's like, you got to do that, I guess, right? But
you got a ranking, you got a rating for this album?
I think it's a 7 out of 10. I think it's his worst album. But people take this out of terms just because, and this is a big hot topic I have. I think this year specifically, a lot of artists dropped their worst albums.
Okay.
That doesn't mean necessarily it's a bad album or that's the worst album that's ever released. I'm talking about top tier artists. Future, I think that's his worst album that dropped this year. I love that album, but I think it's his worst album.
Okay.
Kendrick Lamar, Mr. Morale, The Big Steppers, I think it's his worst album that he dropped in his catalog. Studio albums. But I like that album. I think it's a good album. But I still think it's his worst out of all his albums. Now Post Malone, again, these are major artists. His worst album. But I still like the album. Specifically when it comes to Post Malone, I think it's because he got more personal than he ever did. It's more of like a diary type of album. Shortest album he's done, 40 minutes long, 14 songs, 40 minutes long. I think there was like an interlude vibe, so you can count, not count it. So technically it's 13 songs. And the promotion was not done well. He had a song that came out last year, Motley Crue, that was kind of dope, a good dope vibe. Wasn't on the album. Then he had a song with Roddy Ricch, Cooped Up, which I didn't play into it too much. I was waiting for the album. And now I hear it on the album, I love it even more, right?
Yeah.
But that song came out. That was like the only really promotion single for it.
Yeah. So was Cooped Up about the
COVID based or pandemic.
so
Feeling cooped up.
so you think with these albums, a lot of these albums got developed.
Canned. They got canned, so they're older. They got probably made
But
to
with some
drop
of these
last
artists
year.
like Future, Kendrick, Post, a lot of these songs probably got developed 2020, 2021. Maybe part of why it's their worst project. Maybe they're depressed. They're not outside. They gotta make a studio deadline.
Yeah,
Kendrick did
How you make
say-
a song called "Cooped Up"? You know what
that's
I mean?
true. That's very true.
I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there. Like,
No, I mean
Yeah.
Kendrick said he had writer's block for like 3 years or 2 years from making that album. So
he did say that.
it's,
He did say that.
it
The only
is
one that
true.
seems to not have necessarily writer's block or sadness is Future. You know, because he's busy, cooking chickens and what's that song? Puff It on Zooties, and what's the other song that I hate? Oh my God, the one with Young Thug and the controversial one, For a Nut. Boston bitches up for nuts, I guess. You know, so congratulations to him for that. But
Future.
aside from that, is definitely this album specifically. I think it correlates to that, like more of like a depressive state of mind, time capsule for what he might have been going through the COVID pandemic. But this album, I don't know. I don't think it's necessarily horrible. Like, it's getting kind of trashed online. His numbers are that's not great numbers if we're being honest, compared to his previous album, which did like 500,000 first week. For Post Malone to do 100,000 first week,
Did he do more than Jack Harlow?
yeah, more than Jack
Okay.
Harlow, but damn near the same amount, right?
It's pretty much the same. Yeah, it's crazy.
They were comparing him on social media.
I mean,
Jack
I get it. It's white
and
rappers, but
Is
Post Malone,
Is Post a white rapper? Is that how we're gonna categorize him?
But 'cause he came out as a rapper,
first, yeah.
and the genre of this album is rap hip hop. But I think he's bigger than a rapper.
Yeah,
He's a pop star, right? And he sings decent, not fucking Ariana Grande, but he could sing and he could play the guitar, he could play piano. He's very, talented when it comes to instruments, and he's like a rock star. Like, he gets rock star energy. But when he came out, I guess it was pure rap, White Iverson. But even that was like, he was rapping, but it was singing, like a melody rap.
Yeah.
Like Jack and Little Dicky's a better comparison than Jack and Post Malone. No, legit.
Definitely.
Nah, for
Legit.
real.
They're more
Nah,
bar, they're more like backpack. They're trying to like
And
straight
Little
rap.
Dicky would eat Jack up.
Yeah,
Lil Dicky
yeah,
will eat a
for
lot of
sure.
people up.
Yeah,
Lil
That's
Dicky's
true.
a really great rapper.
They sleep on him.
I think he's dropping soon, but
So
he's busy.
So you know more about this with the streams and the bundles.
Yeah.
So what is that? What's like? I read about that. Like they don't got the bundles, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what? Yeah.
So I think about 2 to 3 years ago, Billboard had made a decision to not count the bundle sales as a part of the sales for the album. First week, especially.
So was it including like was it including
So
like
it'd be like
something?
people would buy a bundle, right? And the bundle would be a T-shirt or tickets to concerts,
Okay.
or sometimes like you can buy the bundle and you get like a potential signed item by me, or like raffle type of energy.
But
maybe.
vinyls would count. Like if I put a
Vinyls
vinyl.
sometimes will be a part of the bundles, but the bundles people use as a tactic, especially like Travis Scott. I
Mhm.
think Nicki Minaj. I think the Nicki Minaj user, or I
Yeah,
think
because she
Juice
was
WRLD.
complaining because that was the time when they said that they weren't gonna count it no more. So
yeah, because it
Nicki
kind of
Minaj
was
was
unfair because it was like an abrupt
Okay.
change, right? It wasn't like a transitional period. It was like an abrupt change, and it's made a lot of people suffer with that. But bundles still drop. Kendrick dropped his bundle, not right away, like days after the album came out. Post Malone dropped his bundle, not right away. I think like a day after the album came out, but they're available. But I think it doesn't get counted, so the numbers are going to be obviously lower. But I think overall, it doesn't take a big chunk as people kind of make it seem. They try to make it seem like that's the case, like that's why it's happening. I think it's genuinely like people are just releasing not their best foot forward, and that's fine. Like, you're not going to always hit 100%. You can't
agree.
expect people to hit home runs every fucking time they go up to bat. It's impossible, especially if you're an artist that goes through real shit. Like, these guys go through real shit behind the scenes. So they're going to drop bodies of work that are not overall loved.
Why don't we talk about ticket sales? I think that's more important than
100%.
streams. Like how many people can you get in person to your concert?
yeah,
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. And I think now, with a lot of these concerts, a lot of tour dates, they've been scheduled, a lot of festivals scheduled and paid for like years because everything got backed up.
Mhm.
Another thing, because of COVID. So a lot of these artists' tours, a lot of these artists' festivals, this was supposed to happen either last year or the year before, but now it's happening this year because of COVID. So that's another situation where you might be buying the tickets now, you might be buying everything now, but these artists already got paid for it, in the past. So maybe that makes them kind of not feel the energy to promote it or be happy about it, sort to say. But they're happening. Pusha T's next week, I think,
I was
at
just about to bring that up.
Boston.
Is that a smaller venue?
Yeah, I thought it was House of Blues, but it's not House of Blues. It's like
My God,
it's like Big Night Live. I looked it up today. It was Big Night Live. It's like a new venue, like 2,000 people only or something like that.
Mhm.
I was like, well, I never heard this venue in my life. I guess okay, fuck it. I guess he's
$50 tickets. I was about to. Like,
yeah.
maybe make a trip.
No, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. I saw one for 40. I was about to pull the ticket.
But you
pull the
can't get a
trigger.
$50 ticket for Drake. For people that compare,
That's the thing.
you can't get a $50 ticket.
I think I paid like 100 for Drake at TD Garden.
You ain't gonna
Then
get
I
100 when
Then I
Drake
snuck down.
when Drake drops.
No, but
That's gonna be $400 tickets balcony.
Yeah, I got lucky.
that's true. The nosebleeds up there.
No, it's very true. I think the Migos opened up for Drake too. So that was a major tour. But yeah, Pusha T, man, that's gonna be interesting. But that's happening. I think Post Malone. I'm not sure about his tour situation at all, but that's gonna be interesting. I would want to see him on tour. I'll see him on. I think I haven't yet ever. Not even at festivals. No.
Not just Eric's remember because he played White Iverson. He said like 50
Because he came
times.
here. That was the early days when he came here to Providence. But yeah, I haven't seen him live. So that would be dope to see him because I always liked him a lot. But yeah, comment down below. How do you guys feel? Do you think it's his worst album? Why did his album flop? What is going on? Is it the label's fault? Who's at fault here? Is it anyone? Or is just not a good album? Pandemic situation, right? Speaking of situations, let's discuss this. I'm going to connect this to the charger, though, because it's about to die. I got to play the video. Mark down the time, please. What's the time?
1:26.
Okay. Write it down. He's like, you saying it in the video is not going to help him out.
No, he'll know.
Write it down.
Yeah, write it down. Text me in the chat real quick.
I got you.
Because as he skips through, he can see it. And you hear it.
But when he goes back and edit, he's not gonna be like, Malone said 11:26.
Nigga, he watches this whole thing to see.
No, I don't. Nigga. I'll be up till too late. I can't do that.
An hour and 26, 11:26.
Okay, good looks. Now. I've been feeling cooped up.
What?
Getting into college is about more than an acceptance letter. It's a chance to make your...
So we are...
Did you go see Tyler?
Yeah.
I asked you that. You saw? How was that? I'm mad I missed that.
It was good. I like him a lot. He was the best performer I've ever seen probably in my life so far.
Damn, I'm mad.
It was tied between him and Future. Future's really good as well.
I just didn't want to go to Worcester. That was my thing.
I also saw him that day in Vegas in the festival. He killed that shit.
Mm-hmm.
But he takes his performances really good. He's really good as an artist. Like really, really good.
Is he top 5 right now?
I would say so. Definitely. Especially when you look at like his freestyle he did this year. The obviously the album, but the album was like last year, right? Obviously, but he dropped like songs. There's a couple songs I think on the Nego album. And he had a feature. I forgot on whose song, but it was like a crazy ass feature. But regardless, like I think he's just top 5. Like he's top 5 in general. I would say so. People gotta talk about it more, but
That's subjective. I don't think so.
yeah. But Malone doesn't like him. Malone doesn't like Tyler. Yeah, but I love him. I love him, bro. He's getting more and more focused on his bars too. He's
It's
getting
such an eclectic sound that I could get why people wouldn't like him. There was a time I hated Tyler. I'm like, this dude.
He just never caught my attention.
Nah, I hear you. I hear you. He could be
Music
weird.
wise and like person wise.
Nah, he could be weird. Weird.
He's a unique character.
I did like the wig shit though. I'm like, what the hell is this dude doing? Earthquake was my shit though. Earthquake.
You got my earthquake.
Yo.
No, he's hard.
I ain't go there.
But moving on, so this situation obviously that's happened in Texas, Uvalde, Texas. There's a mother now, one of the students' mother, but not one of the students that passed away. Thankfully, I think it was just another student.
It was 2 students.
What?
She saved 2.
She saved 2 students. Yeah. Okay. But she's not a mother of one of the kids that passed away right now.
No, she saved both her
I was about to say because
she saved them both.
She was very courageous to give this interview. If she had someone that passed away, she would have been very much more traumatized. But she still was traumatized. Obviously, she went through a situation where she's now revealing to the public and basically saying the truth, like what's going on. There's a lot of opinions online about the cops, a lot of rumors. You got it here from the horse's mouth. This mother right here has now spoken publicly.
Arrest you because you're being very uncooperative. I said, well, you're going to have to arrest me because I'm going in there and I'm telling you
It disconnected from here. It started playing.
right now. I don't see none of y'all in there. Y'all are standing with snipers and y'all are far away. If y'all don't go in there, I'm going in there. He immediately put me in cuffs.
She says after Uvalde police officers told marshals to uncuff Gomez, she ran towards the school.
As soon as they uncuffed me, I jumped that first gate fence. And once I jumped it, I went to my son's class. And I knocked on the door, and I remember the teacher saying, I'm like, hey, they're already bulge cutting the fence to get me. She's like, you think we have time to get out? I said, y'all have time. I'm gonna run for my other son.
Once she was assured her son was okay, Gomez ran to get her other child, encountering more officers who tried to stop her.
So I start yelling and I'm being a cooperative and I'm like, well, y'all aren't doing what are y'all doing? Y'all ain't doing y'all need to be in here. Give me your vest. Somebody give me a vest. Something. I started paying attention to how far the shots were being so that I knew the shooter was all the way still by my first son's class. So when I went to my second son's door, the teacher didn't want to open the door for me. So that's when they started escorting me out. And as I see that they're opening my son's door, I go run for my son and I get him.
With both of her kids out safe, Gomez still can't shake the thought of those who didn't make it.
Yeah.
While you were
That video of
inside
her
the
running out
school,
with the kids, I didn't even see that.
Did you see officers
There was not
inside
one
the school?
officer inside the school when I
In
ran
the
to my
areas-
second son's class. There was not one officer.
And you were hearing gunshots, so you knew
You
that
could hear the
it was an
gunshots.
active
It
shooter.
was still active. The gunshots were still active. They were not in there. There was no one in there. If anything, when I pulled up, my car was closer to the school than where the snipers and everybody that was laying on the ground were.
When you heard that it took law enforcement
So that right there,
It's a joke.
it just
That's crazy.
confirms the situation, right? Where there seems to be this sort of police fucking, I don't know what can you even call that, biased? Like what is, it's not even biased necessarily because biased for their own safety in a sense, but what is the protocol? Were they not following protocol? Was that the protocol from the beginning? I would think the protocol would be, if you're aware of the situation, what they seem to have a good amount of knowledge of, that there's a shooter, but they saw that it was a young shooter. You have the armor on. You guys have how many guns? A lot of guns, right? You have a lot of guns, right? You're prepared. Go in there. Go in there. And if you have these parents that have more balls than these officers to go into the school to try to protect these kids or try to fucking save some of the kids, especially, you know, like she stated, there was a prediction that she made where if they were to have done what she did, the number wouldn't be 19 dead. If any, hopefully 0, but at least it wouldn't have been 19. You could have, let's hope for at least one life being saved, right, amongst the 19 that passed away. But this was rumored online, and then people from out there were talking about it on Twitter. But now we have an actual witness account of this woman, the mother that went inside. I think she was the only parent that did this.
I saw that there was they haven't spoken up or anything like that, but I saw that, I don't know if it's true or not, that there was another parent that possibly ran in there with a gun and shit themselves. I saw it. I haven't seen it since I saw it that one time, but
Yeah, no.
Yeah, it was
there
alleged.
regardless of that, this woman ran in there unarmed
with nothing. Yeah.
with nothing.
Some balls.
You know what I'm saying?
No, I mean
To
there-
get
Superhero.
2 kids,
Superhero.
Yeah.
not 1, 2 kids, bro.
different classrooms.
It's a fucking
Different
nightmare.
classrooms.
I don't know how she did that shit. It's a nightmare. I mean, I know because I would do it, but then it's like you don't
Come
know
on.
until you're really going through it either.
And there
That's
was
the
there was a lot of parents who tried too, but they were getting handcuffed. They were getting treated worse than the shooter.
That's just stupid as fuck. It's like, regardless, it's like you got all these cops and shit like that. You're trying to figure out what the situation is inside. You can hear the fucking gunshots.
Yeah.
You have all these fucking cops. Have them surround the fucking school and not just wait outside, or have the major exits and shit like that, and just fucking have the other ones run in.
Yeah.
Especially if you have these motherfuckers suited up and shit like that.
Like how
Fucking go in, bro.
she said she went in and she heard how far the gunshots were. So you could have done the same. Like know where the shooter is active at, and then
Let
Yeah,
me,
she
join in.
distanced
let me say
herself
this: if you're
like
a cop
a
and shit like
survival.
that, and you know that that's your child's fucking school, you ain't gonna run in there.
Yeah, it's
You
crazy.
gonna wait till they tell you can fucking move in?
They waited like
Fuck that,
I
you're
think
not
they
doing
said the
that.
time. I don't know if it was like an hour or
Not doing
I don't know how long it
Hey,
was.
A story's gonna be, investigation's gonna be had. The story's gonna come out. There's gonna be civil lawsuits.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sure.
That's what it seems like from all the pieces put it together. There seems allegedly to be a massive failure here.
Yes.
Um,
Which is shocking because I just thought it was like a, not regular, but we're prone to this because we've seen it happen all the time. A regular now shooting, and then the cops try to do their best, right? But now it's like, wait a minute.
It didn't do nothing.
Try to do the best.
You might have done. You potentially,
Fuck out, your
allegedly,
worst.
might have done your worst.
The worst. Fuck out of here.
So now this is like a wild
Crazy.
card situation because I don't think this ever happened really with like a shooting, especially like a school shooting that we know of or publicly known, like mothers speaking out like this, especially. It's never happened. So now this is new. So now what's gonna happen? You saying that potentially there could be, I'm pretty sure as well, like an investigation.
I think this happened in Parkland.
Oh yeah, the Parkland
I think
shooting.
there was an officer, and I could be wrong. We need to fact check this.
Yeah, comment down below, correct us.
I think there was an officer that got sued because they didn't do enough.
Mm.
Fact check that, all of that. But yeah, I think that would set precedence for this, I would imagine. And I'm not gonna say like when I see a mass shooting, especially with kids, I'm a child that witnessed a shooting, and like you take that image with you forever.
Rest of your life.
Rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
And any single time I see something like that, I'm just like, yo, all those the kids that survive harm, they're gonna be in spaces where it's like, oh, could a mass shooting, could I get shot at a random spot? And if an investigation does show that the police did not act in the appropriate manner that they should, or someone dropped the ball, I just hope they're held accountable, because 18, right? 18.
Yeah.
18.
18 years old.
I mean, 18 deaths.
Oh,
like,
19. Oh, 19 deaths. The shooter was 18 years old. My bad.
That's,
I mean,
that's
come
almost
on.
that's almost a whole classroom.
Yeah.
Come on.
And
on,
aside from them, one of the teachers' husband also died from a heart attack because of the experience.
Yeah,
So it's like
This shit, I don't know. This shit. My confusion is like, how did he get in? And not only that, it's like, now what we've seen this happen other times and shit like that. And it's like, and since you're like in the school board, I want to ask you this: is there like nothing like being like, my thing is like, can schools not have like a security guard just there? It's starting to seem like that's like it's a must. It's like, because for example, I went to Del Sesto, and we had a cop, Bridgem and Del Sesto. We had a cop there the majority of the time.
Roger Williams
We had a
him
cop
too.
that it was always, he would chill outside and shit like that, because we would always break out in fights and shit like that. It was just fights and shit, but there was a cop there. And today also, when I was driving by, because I worked nearby at Green, I saw that when they were like dismissing kids and shit like that, there was a cop outside and shit. But it's like, are we gonna continue to let this happen even more and not, like, obviously I know that there has to be a lot made behind scenes and this and that, like, to happen and shit, but it's like, come on.
That is kind of crazy. Like, I just thought about it, that they did only have cops in like the schools that were deemed to be like bad behavior and stuff. That's the only line.
Which could lead to arrest and other.
Yeah.
So there have been in Providence specifically, and across certain areas of the country, there are youth organizations, other organizations that are asking for police to be removed from schools, whether it's having young people being arrested in school, right? We shouldn't have a school to prison pipeline while you go to school, right? So there's all those aspects in terms of the counselors, not cops campaigns that exist. So you have that aspect, which a lot of research has been done, and it kind of shows like, maybe we shouldn't have, cops in our school system. So you have that policy and political conversation going on now, facing this, right? What's going on with the shootings. And I think even Rhode Island specifically has been legislation introduced about making sure there's 2 police officers in every school, right? School resource officers. So making sure that it's in every school. And in the situations I think we're talking about with some of the mass shootings that has unfortunately happened in schools, there have been police officers in there, right? So I think in Parkland there was, Sandy Hook, I would love a fact check on here, but obviously in here there was a school resource officer in Texas. So that's not even necessary. And there was a lot of police officers surrounding the area. So that has not been necessarily proven in those examples, unfortunately, to have stopped the mass shootings. God, I just,
Not to cut you off, John Oliver did a good piece, I think yesterday or 2 days ago, on that. He did a good piece on that. John Oliver, policing in school and how schools don't need police and the examples and the kids speaking about that and like how a lot of kids, especially black kids, obviously were getting fucking arrested and racially profiled by their own cops in their own school, and it ruined their record at an early age, and especially in the inner cities, and like how that just needs to be not necessarily a solution, but then it is like, what is the solution? But I do think it's tough. I think, in my opinion, purely it starts with a lot of the gun control situation where it becomes too easy to get a gun, easier to get a gun than to fucking get a driver's license.
Regardless if it comes down to, like, the way that I see it is, like, I get the gun control and everything like that, but it's, like, regardless of, like, legally going to purchase something and not being too easy, you can just get that shit anywhere, honestly. It's not even going to
but
buy
like
it
for
legally and shit like
for these
that.
examples, like the 18-year-old shooter, he literally went on his birthday to buy 2 rifles in the store or whatever type of gun he bought.
He used a handgun.
Yeah, and
he had a rifle too.
Yeah, and they probably greeted him with like smiles, like they didn't.
100%.
They weren't like
100%.
like extra questions about it, and that was like almost like
Oh, it was 100%,
a fucking like darker. Like it can't get more darker than that. A birthday gift for himself is these weapons that he's gonna buy to kill these children, and he didn't even go to the school. That's my thing, because the counseling and stuff, it works, right? But I would say ideally for these kids to not seek revenge against their own peers and like go and kill their teachers in their own school. But this motherfucker decided to go kill kids in another school that had nothing to do with, like, even if he was getting counselor in his own school or whatever, this is a whole nother school. So then that's where I think in that situation, and the situation that happened prior, which was the shooting in the fucking grocery store, it's like if these 18-year-olds are not even permitted to fucking buy these guns, they can find them, yes, but they're gonna have a tougher time, especially like finding ARs and like these type of fucking machinery that I don't even know why is that necessarily existing. I get it, but it's like, oh, is this a fucking zombie apocalypse? Like, why do we need these fucking major ammunitions? But that's a whole other conversation. I get it.
Where does social media play in a role? Because I think even the shooting in Buffalo, right? He was
on Twitch live streaming.
And I think he was posting some things alluding to this. And I think with the shooting in Texas, he was posting some things alluding to this.
Yes, he was.
So what role does that play? I think we're coming into a very complex area where, yes, gun control, yes, mental health, yes, our school infrastructure. How do we make sure some random strangers just can't pop in? You know, and also, what role do we have to just sort of like prevent this when people were lashing out either in personal structures or online about this? It's way above, I think, my
Hey, great.
It just it's a lot. But you know, in politics, we boil down to what's more simple to consume. Yeah. So we focus on gun control, which I think is again. The Las Vegas shooting, the concert shooting, 60 people died in a quick amount of time period. What I would argue with people is that, do humans really need access to that type of
machinery?
100%. I don't see as to why ARs and shit like that are even obtainable by like regular people.
Cause I get I
get like a
freedom,
or like
freedom, the Second Amendment.
Like,
Second Amendment, I get that, but damn, bro.
Yeah, but
automatic
like
weapons,
something like that. That is like. Yeah, I don't get that.
What angers me is I think the most majority of people, there's a common ground. I think you could talk to people that are gun owners, see what's going on, and you got people that maybe don't own guns, and you know. And I think if you have people, large majority want to come to a solution. They don't want to see kids get shot. They don't want to see mass shootings. And there's just something broken in our American political system where we just can't just have some common sense. Whereas background checks, mental health support, a limit on, you know, the capacity of there are things that can be done. The major problem that every voter should be angry about is nothing is getting done. Nothing.
Yeah.
What are they getting paid for up there?
Yeah.
Right?
It's really crazy. And then we have these examples, unfortunately, that have to happen to kind of, I guess, ruffle some feathers, but still nothing really being done. Just conversations, which is good to have, obviously, always conversations.
The only thing this has been doing is sparking
More.
the wrong side.
Yeah.
Because it's like you saw what happened in Philly a couple of days ago.
Oh yeah, the shooting in Philly.
Yeah, like, you know, you've been seeing this even more and more. Like, it's becoming normal. And now they even joking around, calling schools and shit like that. So
I
it's
think,
like, come on.
I think with schools, like, those establishments, you need to have, because when my sister's elementary school, to get in there, you have to get buzzed in. The lady, you'll tap the thing.
Yeah,
the lady
yes,
will
yeah.
be like, oh, who are you? Say yourself, you know. I think every school just needs that. Like, where every door in the school is locked up,
No,
there's an
100%.
alarm system that if that door opens, it triggers, you know, and somebody has to have that control, that button to
I feel like
let whoever in.
there should be not only just that door, but like, you know, like a little space in between. You know what I'm saying? Okay, you got through the first door and shit like that. You got to pass metal detector. Something goes off, the second door ain't gonna open. Now you're stuck in between two in a little room. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you're fucked. How are you gonna get out? You know what I'm saying? Compared to, like, for example, I've gone to like my niece's school. I'll get buzzed in and shit like that, and then it's just stairs. You can either infiltrate yourself, go downstairs, or you can just go through the front door. The fucking office is right there. What happens if the first thing they do is clap the office?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Who's going? You know they.
No, I mean,
freedom to do whatever the fuck
there's
you
a
want.
there's a lot of schools that just doesn't have that security. Like, you can
I don't know,
legit
man.
go around the school and just see like a door crack open, or even try to open it, and
Bro, I
it's
ain't gonna
easy.
lie.
Like, classical is easy.
I
to
went,
get
bro.
in,
I went to classical
get in, no
after I
problem.
graduated. I went in. I got buzzed in and everything. I went to speak with my advisor that I had, and then I just kept walking around the whole school.
Yeah, like
Teachers saw me and everything, and it's like nothing. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't know what type of security is happening, what's going on.
it's tough.
Yeah.
I feel like that's something that could easily be fixed. I'm telling you, that whole little room concept thing.
I will say this.
don't know.
I think, and it probably should happen after Sandy Hook, a review of schools across the country. I think it's just going to happen, like, per city, per town. Everyone's having this conversation. So I would imagine there's going to be investments in looking how we can just make schools more safe.
It has to be.
In the meantime, I think it's going to happen. And I think it's just struggle to, have direct answers, because then every building's different.
Yeah.
In the school, right?
No,
so
100%.
it's really just on elected officials, people, or policyholders, to be held accountable and figure out, okay, how do we make sure we continuously prevent situations like this? Not to say that there hasn't been any either drills, right, in case something doesn't happen, right? That happens across the country, or other aspects that have been created, but it furthers the conversation in the aspect that, again, no legislation is going to be passed. I think that also gets lost in the media. No legislation is going to be passed. You need 60 votes in the Senate. They are not doing
They're not giving
that.
that.
They're not doing that. So right there, you're done. And elections are going to come up pretty soon, and probably going to have a fractured party between Republican control and Democrat control. And we're just so separate.
Yeah.
Because the gun companies don't want their fucking sales being affected and this bullshit and that whole situation. But it's like, man, I don't know.
It's the culture too. It's voters. It's voters.
Yeah.
In certain areas, right? In certain areas, right? I mean, we're in a different area.
Yeah.
Different culture. Other areas, they don't want to hear anything about gun control and
yeah, it's a symbolic thing of American
gun
culture.
safety.
Yeah, American culture is the American flag, the bald eagle, hot dog, and a gun. Like, that's all symbolic of American culture. It's crazy. And I love me with some hot dogs. Don't get me wrong, but I could do without the symbolic gun gesture.
But I've talked to so many people that legally own, and we have this conversation. 'Cause I have a eclectic group, and I just feel like, okay, when we talk about these things, and I'm like, yeah, we should be doing X, Y, and Z. I'm like, okay, why can't that just happen? And
oh yeah, I feel like especially now, a lot of people, even on social media, like, it seems to be like a one set mind. A lot of people, both sides, Republican and Democratic, especially after these situations, are like, something needs to be done, which is shocking because it used to be very much more one sided, but now everyone's coming to a common ground, because I feel like it's obvious. Like, if it wasn't obvious before, it's obvious now. Like, social media has heightened it as well, because social media is so strong right now. Like, you can't really try to slip or hide something. It's gonna come to light always.
It's not just the parents, that are in fear and shit like that. Now it's just the kids are definitely going to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's social media now, so the kids are definitely finding out about this stuff. You know, like
Yeah.
like even like my brother was trying to hide like what happened in Texas and stuff to like my nieces and shit, and they went to school the next day and they came back terrified. They're like, yo, like I don't want to go to school.
That's all they're
You
gonna
know what I'm
hear.
saying?
Yeah, that's all they're gonna
It's
hear.
like
It's
like,
all
come
over
on.
TikTok.
There's no point. They're not gonna hide this shit. There's no matter. They're gonna hear it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, what are you gonna do? Is like, oh, now you got the parents and shit like that. But now the kids don't want to fucking go to school. Can you blame them?
Vote in the midterms.
You can't fucking blame them.
Vote in the midterm elections.
You know what I'm saying?
Vote in the midterm elections.
Go in the midterm elections. They don't want to hear that, Travis. They don't want to hear that. That's the problem.
people like, there's elections this year? Like, yes, vote in the midterm elections.
Yeah, they don't want to hear it until it's too late. They don't want to hear it. It's the sad truth. They don't want to hear it until it's too late. But rest in peace, those kids, obviously, and that Uvalde mother, very courageous.
You gotta teach
Congratulations
these cops
to her.
What to fucking do.
Those kids better never speak back to that mother.
Yeah,
Never.
Especially because it's on camera. I didn't know it was on. I didn't see that part where it's like on camera, like her running with them. It's like, yeah,
That's real life.
she's
Mother
Wonder
of
Woman.
the year, give her awards.
Yeah, she's Wonder Woman. Like you think, yeah, that's the real
Have her
superhero.
teach them cops how to let the nuts hang. Come on.
For real.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Moving on to something more lighthearted though. But still sad. Fuck, the Celtics lost last night, badly, and the Dominican superstar that gave me a lot of hope, my brother from another mother, Al Horford,
Got tired
game
the
one.
first game.
Did we talk about game one here? No, right? Because game one happened after the podcast, so I don't think we talked about game one here.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, so game one was phenomenal. Wow, stellar performance. First Dominican to ever make it to the NBA Finals ever. But aside from that,
So you gassed them up for nothing?
not necessarily because he's
I feel
definitely
like you need the horns for that.
he's a Hall of Famer, man. He's definitely a Hall of Famer. Been on so many teams. Was on the Celtics years ago and came back recently. But man, that first game was phenomenal. This whole series now just seems like a fucking I don't know, like a rigged type of vibe. Because I feel like they're just trying to go to Game 7. Like it's really crazy, bro. Like that happened with I think it happened with something recently. But I just knew, I felt it. With the Celtics winning, okay, they win game one. I'm assuming the second game's going to be close. A blowout, the other way around. It's like, what the fuck? And then he only scores 2 points. I think, who else only scored 2 points? It was Horford and Marcus Smart, only 2 points. It's like, what the fuck is going on here? So it just gives me the vibe of like, yo, this league is like so sketchy.
If Celtics win third game, that's it.
Nah,
That gotta come out as weird as fuck. You know what I'm saying? That little pattern.
back and forth. I mean,
Well, not necessarily.
They go back to Boston, though.
If the Warriors win
I don't
it,
know shit about
but then
sports,
if the
but-
Celtics win game 4, it could be either or. As long as if it goes to game 7, then it's gonna confirm my feeling of like what the fuck is going on here, right? But at the same time, it's like I'm not putting it fully on the players. I get it. Anything happens. Anything is possible. But man, it's really weird how this shit is happening. Like, it's not even a close win or a close. It's like, bro, dramatic wins. Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, how are you gonna be down 20 and then randomly come back?
Do you think the 3-point aspect, because what made Celtics do the turnaround is that they were getting hot on the threes, right?
Yeah.
So I think just mathematically, like the threes will ice you out. You get hot
That's what it is too.
because they
It's
went
such
to
a high-
30 last night. They went to 30 quick, right? Up.
Yeah.
Well, Jordan Poole with that crazy three,
Insane half court.
and I was like, I think I tweeted, I was like, it's over.
Yeah, no.
Like that's
Bro,
it.
Jordan Poole.
Oh, was it end of third quarter that he hit that?
Yeah,
that
I think
that
so.
Crazy.
Fourth quarter, they started going crazy.
So yeah, I mean
the third splash brother. That's what they call him now.
The
Oh my god.
Warriors, the Warriors is a shooting team. Like that's all they want
That's
to
all
do
they
is
do.
shoot threes. Every pretty much play they scheme up, pick and roll. Somebody's going to three. So.
AKA they're bitches.
Yeah,
They ain't going to the paint.
Ain't going to the
They ain't going to the paint.
But it's like,
If they don't need to, bro.
yeah,
come
no,
on.
they
and they're
getting
getting more points for it.
nah, for real, yeah, that's their thing. They're 3-point
No one got
shooting
that
team,
dog
so-
in them.
Yeah, no. I
You
would
saw that about the Heat? Like they just kept
Yeah,
saying that.
no one got that dog in it.
Nah, but I mean, yeah, that's tough to compete, man. Those threes is really tough. If you ain't
Yeah,
hitting
man.
it back
I'm excited. I think when is it? Wednesday? In 2 days.
2 days.
2 days from now or tomorrow. If you're listening today on Tuesday, the Celtics are gonna go for Game 3. I think it's gonna be in Boston now against the Golden State Warriors. It's gonna be interesting to see how that goes. But I'm definitely tuned in and watching. But goddamn, I don't know, man. It's so weird. I really hope there was gonna be more of like a clear, decisive. Like you know how this is going, but you really can't tell. Like it's like
It's crazy.
they go crazy one game, then they go crazy the next game. But I really feel like the Warriors definitely gonna win this for
So you're
some
saying
reason.
Warriors in 7.
I'm gonna predict the Warriors. So Warriors is tied 1-1. So whoever wins the next 3 games, I would say Warriors in 6. I feel like the Celtics will win, but the Warriors are gonna. The Warriors are gonna win the next 2 games, and then it's gonna be what's gonna happen? Are they gonna? And then the Celtics are gonna win. It's gonna be 2-3, and people are gonna be like, oh, the Celtics are gonna come back. Then the Warriors are gonna shut it down, boom, right there, and then win the championship. I think that's what's gonna happen, literally. I do want to see the Celtics win. I'm not a Celtics fan. I grew up a Celtics fan. I'm more of like I'm about to say Kendrick Lamar. King James fan, billionaire, LeBron James fan, Laker fan. Wherever he goes, I'm going. But grew up a Celtics fan and very biased to the New England Spirit energy. And I love Jason Tatum. I love the whole team that they have right now. I love this team. I think it's going to be a very successful team throughout the years if they keep it how it is. That coach is doing a hell of a job. Congratulations to him.
Nice.
But I don't know if they got it in them to go crazy again. Horford gave me a lot of hope. I think he can have another crazy game, but to keep it up consistently is going to be hard because they weren't playing like this throughout the season necessarily. Like they were good, but not necessarily how they played game 1. Hell no, bro. So unless they randomly strike gold, Curry pulls a fucking hamstring or something, God forbid, but I kind of want him. No, I'm just saying.
Pull the hamstring.
Pull the hamstring.
LeBron is the only one to beat in the finals a healthy Warriors team, right? Because when Kawhi beat the Warriors, they were it was
Almost
down to
down,
just
right?
Steph Curry.
Yeah.
I think they lost
Clay was
Durant
out.
and Clay.
Yeah.
I just think they are like close to unstoppable unless you have a god
Yeah.
play against them. And even that, they needed Draymond out for one of those games. He got suspended because he's always doing some crazy stuff, right?
Technical
Yeah.
fouls.
That's how I feel about the Warriors. I think they're kind of like the Patriots of the NBA.
Oh yeah.
Like they are just
Unstoppable.
they're
Always winning.
yeah. But even though I'm not a Boston fan, I got mad love for Tatum. Marcus Smart, love how he plays. Al Horford, like this is a great team to watch.
Yeah.
I did not expect this at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
for
I feel like a lot of people didn't. Because especially like random like moments like Derek White,
Derek White going
randomly-
crazy with threes.
like random like moments just happen with the Celtics that leave people like, oh shit, like they got some.
first year
pieces.
coach made it to the
First year coach
finals.
right away.
Crazy.
And it's like that transition was crazy too, because going from Brad Stevens to him,
Yeah.
but then I think Brad Stevens still on the team. He's
Moved up.
yeah, he made the guy move up and shit, or whatever. They switched positions, whatever. It was like a bold move, but it worked. So far, it worked.
If Heat had beat the Celtics, I think Heat would have been swept though.
Yeah. For sure.
That dog ain't gonna win against the
Yeah.
Warriors.
Nah, for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
The Celtics gave him the
100%.
best
Whatever
chance to
Butler's doing, that was not gonna
Yeah,
win
no.
against.
Tyler Hero was gonna supposedly come out of the injury. Tyler Hero, but
Oh, okay, that would have helped a little bit.
it would have helped. But I don't think he was
Well,
100%. Tyler Hero. I'll go back to rapping with Jack Harlow. Tyler Hero. Devin Haney won the boxing match this past weekend. He beat. Damn, why am I drawing blank? I watched that fucking fight. Who the fuck did he beat? Here comes the sports anxiety. Every time I talk about sports, I forget facts and I sound like an amateur.
He beat some bloke.
He beat somebody. Oh, bloke. It was a bloke. He was from overseas.
I didn't even know.
Australian.
Did he knock
George
him out?
Kambosos.
Cambosis.
No, it went all 12 rounds, but he beat him, and now he's the new undisputed champion. I think lightweight of the world. And it was a great fight. Shout out to Devin Haney. I love his boxing. I think he's one of the best boxers. It was a great fight to watch. And yeah, there's a couple other boxing matches coming up this year. It's a great time to watch boxing. If you're not into boxing, I would definitely recommend it. Getting into it right now. A lot of young stars, and Devin Haney's one of them.
Who's gonna take over for the heavyweights?
Oh,
Because homeboy's retiring, right? Tyson.
I think so.
Gary's out.
That's
I
what
think
they're
he said he was-
saying.
he could be
he's-
playing around for entertainment.
Yeah, he's the best right now though. But I think he might be playing for entertainment. I think he has some more in him, a couple more fights in him. He's a star though. He's another star.
Yeah.
People compare it to fucking Muhammad Ali, but I think that's a stretch. But I get it. He's really great. You know. Real quick before we get into a couple questions for Travis, we have the TV show update. So there's a couple new TV shows that came back, or new seasons of already existing TV shows. We have The Boys season 3 is back on Amazon Prime. Phenomenal show, one of the best shows I've seen in my life. The Boys. You watch The Boys? No.
Love it.
You watch The Boys?
Boys?
Yeah, I think I put Brian onto The Boys. He loves The Boys, bro. The Boys is.
You watch all 3 episodes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Episode 1 of the new season. That whole concept, because for those who don't know, The Boys is basically a dramatic example of what life would be with the superheroes existing in the real world. But I think it's the best example compared to like Marvel. I feel like that's how superheroes would be if we were actual superheroes right now in real life. Because think about it. You think these rappers and these people, we get depressed and stressed. Imagine being a superhero having to save people's lives every day.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you would be, just like this show. So I would definitely watch it if I'm you. And aside from that,
wait, let me ask you a question.
So dramatic and entertaining.
Let me ask you a question. Do you do like spoiler spoiler?
Yeah, we get spoiler alert.
What do you think is gonna happen with Homelander and Starlight? Right there? Yeah.
I think Homelander.
Because that was a crazy spin.
Yeah, I think Homelander. I don't think he's gonna die. I had a feeling he was gonna die, but this season they can't kill him because this show's so successful that they're probably gonna do more seasons, right? Unless they want to end it with this season, they would have to kill him. But I think something dramatic's happening. Probably Starlight's gonna die. But I hate the guy. But I almost want to meet the actor because I feel like he plays that role so well that I hate him so much. It's like it feels like real life. Like, bro, I fucking despise you, but you're so good. Like, he's so good, bro. He's so fucking good. But the first episode was crazy with the fucking basically their version of Ant-Man. This guy like turns into like a small person.
Oh my god!
And he was gay, and he goes into this guy's penis. He enters his pee hole, and then he fucking rubs his penis to like make him like come. But then while he's inside his penis, he sneezes.
What the fuck are you watching?
So when he sneezes, he becomes like a human again. So he kills the guy. Because he sneezed, he fucked up because that's against his power. Because that's how it's similar to Ant-Man. Ant-Man's pretty similar. And
Amazon
then he
Prime got to send a check.
Oh my god, bro! His body exploded. I was like, oh my god, what the fuck? And then the people walk in, and they're just staring at him. And then he turns into like a tiny person to like try to kill them, because he's a tiny person, but he has human strength, so like a big person. It's incredible. The show, they really do go hard with like the dramatic effect and like it's dramatic. But I feel like that would have happened. Like if someone had that ability to become an Ant-Man, you'd think that they're not gonna be going inside pee holes.
It's dark humor. I think
people are gonna be going inside dick holes. I'm sorry, it's gonna happen.
You gonna go inside
Not
dick
me.
hole if you small?
Not me, but there's gonna be.
We're probably going Drake's dick.
Nah. These guys, a couple comedians.
Maybe not
No.
Drake, but Kanye.
Kanye, maybe.
No, but that shit, I saw it on Twitter. I thought it was a butthole. Because on Twitter it looked like a butthole. And I watched the show. I'm like, it's a fucking pee hole?
But what the fuck was the whole point of him making him? I don't want to get into.
No, because he's gay. He's a gay.
Get into this.
So that's his thing.
I actually was like, how is that going to be pleasurable? That was my question watching it.
But the guy broke it down. No, the guy broke it down. He was saying the words or whatever. Like touch this, whatever. So he probably scientifically, he probably did it already before. I have no idea. That shit was crazy though. I was like, what the fuck? That's so well, like, such a memorable, especially for a first episode. It's like, you're going to remember that image forever. Like, what the fuck? Remember when that happened on The Boys? But I love the show. I would recommend it 100%. P-Valley's back. P-Valley's a show on Stars. These strippers. Season 2, I think is bad so far. I'm not going to lie. Episode 1 was horrible. I'm sorry. I think it was a bad episode. Obi-Wan Kenobi's started. It's a new series on Star Wars. Star Wars has this Disney Plus deal, and they do like the series shows. I think it was Boba Fett before. Now we have the new one is Obi-Wan Kenobi. I don't like it so far either. I don't like it. And there's a racist situation with the actress, the black actress on that show, that a lot of Star Wars fans are being racial, like against her, like sending her death threats and DMs. And she's going through it. Similar to, I forgot his name. Was it John Boyega? Was it John Boyega? I think it was John Boyega. I might be wrong. I think it was John Boyega that was incorporated into the Star Wars franchise a couple movies ago. And he faced the same type of similar backlash because obviously if you look at the traditional Star Wars movies, there wasn't really black characters other than Samuel L. Jackson. But there wasn't like a major character that was black. And then now they're facing that scrutiny. But I think that her character's not that great. I'm not going to lie. I think a lot of the fans hate the character, so they want to make it racial when they don't need to. It's not that good of a character. Yeah. She's a good actress, but it's not, and it's definitely not because she's black. Like, that's just fucking idiocracy, but that's how Star Wars fans are, unfortunately. Stranger Things Volume 1 of season 4 came out. Phenomenal. I loved it. I loved it. You watched it yet? Yeah, I loved it. I think it was very strong. I think it's the best season so far, and it's gearing up to be because the finale's got to be crazy.
Spoiler. You think they're gonna kill Homegirl at the end?
Which one?
The one where
Nancy?
she was, where she was stuck in.
I think so.
I thought they were gonna kill her.
Someone has
episode.
to die. Yeah, someone has to die. I think it's the last season ever.
Yeah, it's the last season.
So a couple people are gonna die. I think everyone might die.
And also, if you're Stranger Things fans, like you probably would have watched it by now, right? How long has this been out?
Yeah. I did a reaction with my brother-in-law, my girlfriend's little brother, and he watched it the first day. I was like, "What the fuck, bro?
Yeah.
How'd you watch it first than me?" And the episodes are long as hell, like 2 hours long. The last episode was like 2 hours long.
Yeah.
Damn near. It's like, god damn, these are movies basically you're watching back to back.
Yeah.
Better Call Saul, the Breaking Bad spinoff, season finale coming soon. I think this week. Morbius, the Jared Leto movie. He's like a Spider-Man villain, but it's like a Sony Marvel movie. It's only Marvel movie I haven't watched yet. It's been the Morbius movie, but it's trending. It was so bad it had like low box office sales, but it's trending on Twitter every day. People are making jokes about it, like it's Morbin time and like it's Morbin time and like a Morbius whatever. And Jared Leto did like a whole skit thing and he posted it and went viral. But that movie is getting so much like Twitter like fame and like attention. The interactions are crazy, but it's because it's so bad. They're saying. I still haven't watched it. I might watch it tonight, but I want to watch it to see how bad this movie supposedly is. But
that movie gonna go on Disney when it streams.
I think technically it should, right? But then it might not because it's Disney Sony. Because Venom didn't go on. It's Marvel Sony because Venom didn't go on Disney. I don't think you can see Venom on Disney.
I'm saying because of the popularity, some streaming service is gonna make money.
Oh no!
That.
Whenever it lands, yeah, I'm waiting for it to land on one, but I'm gonna just watch it illegally online, allegedly. Because you can watch it in HD online. Why am I gonna go? You know, they re-released it in theaters I think this weekend, and it did like 100K. It did a decent amount, and people were like, "What the fuck? This movie's doing numbers again." But it's because people hate it so much that people are watching it. It's pretty wild. And lastly, there's a show on Netflix that's trending right now, Love on the Spectrum. I recommend people watching it. It's about these people who go on dates and they're looking for love, and they all have autism. And it's about autistic people seeking love. People young, and there's literally like 60-year-old men who haven't been with the girl in 40 years, or even their whole life. There's one guy that in his whole life hasn't been with one, and you see these genuine interactions. I was like tearing up a couple times. It was crazy. Like these episodes are really insane, bro. I swear to God, like these episodes are. And I thought at first I'm like, they're making a fucking like, they're making a like autistic show. Like, why would they do this? Like, but then you watch it, and it's like, oh, this is why. It's very wholesome, and it shows you the humanity side of things, and it makes you appreciate your life for how it is right now. And at the end of the day, autistic people exist. Like, they're normal people just like us. There's just they have autism and they have to deal with things certain ways. But I would recommend watching it. It's on Netflix. It's called Love on the Spectrum. Phenomenal name too, because like people on the spectrum is like Love on the Spectrum. I'm like, oh wow. It's really dope, but
I'm glad Netflix went from ultimatum
to Love on the Spectrum. Yeah, bro.
More.
That's true.
What, is Netflix the new VH1?
Kind of. It's gearing up that way because like they're kind of falling to the side aside from the classics when they make a comeback. Stranger Things, but Stranger Things is here, but they're gone. Like this is the last season. Now people kind of go to Netflix for the love shows. Like they have so much love shows. It's crazy. I can't keep up with it. But Love on the Spectrum, bro. You watch that shit, I'm telling you, you're gonna be like, what the fuck?
Okay.
It's gonna take the take the cake or whatever people say.
Okay.
I forgot that I hate that term.
I'll get some Kleenex.
Definitely. And lastly, let's discuss a couple things. For those who don't know, our guest today, we appreciate you for being here today, Travis. Very much so. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hopefully come back in the future 100%, especially when it comes to discussing these school and political things happen locally. I think you're very good at it, and I think you would be a very dope perspective to have going forward in the city. People need to hear from you when it comes to this. And if they don't, where can they follow you on Twitter? You tweet a lot about this stuff.
So just my name, Travis Escobar.
Travis Escobar.
Found a way to own it.
Right there. Thankfully. But for those who don't know, and they might be interested, what do you do? What would you say Travis Escobar does if they're asking you right now?
Yeah, so it's actually a question I struggle with internally sometimes because, my full-time job is I manage community relations for, a financial institution. Essentially, like I help give out grant money and sponsorship dollars to nonprofits. But then I'm a co-founder and I'm a board chair of Millennial RI networking organization. So out here doing networking for young professionals in the state, and also doing like financial literacy workshops and other different professional development workshops in the state. And then I'm part of a liquor brand startup, Papis Coquito. Thank you for having us as a business spotlight.
Fire, by the way.
Yeah,
I tasted it. That show's fire, bro.
Yeah.
I might need to invest, yo. Let me know when the investment thing's open, because that's crazy.
Yeah. No, and it's a really exciting. It's a really exciting endeavor, and a lot of people have really enjoyed the product. And for people who've never tried Coquito, it's a cream liqueur product, originates in Puerto Rico, has coconut, vanilla, cinnamon, a rum-based flavored, and represents, at least for a lot of Puerto Rican culture, holidays, family, but can be drank all year round. So in terms of just doing all those projects, and I'm on the Providence School Board, and it's one of those things where at the end of the day, I'm really sort of like a kid from the hood, from the south side of Providence, that, first in my family to graduate high school, college, and has really been looking to try to take as many opportunities that sort of been handed in me. Mm-hmm. And one of the things, like, I'm just a big idea person. Like, I love just thinking about what's next, what's a vision, like what can be done to improve systems. So I've been trying to use my skill set, in these aspects, right? Whether it's, again, finding a nonprofit, being part of this liquor brand startup, working for a major corporation. I'm more just me and my skill set. And, I think in any atmosphere, environment I'm in, I sort of bring value. But it's one of the things I've been thinking about, because I have so many, at least in Providence around, I have, all these brands, like people that know me from. Yeah. And it's like, oh yeah, you know me from that. Oh, you know me from that. So. Yeah,
no, it's true. You're a man with many hats. You wear many hats, but it's definitely a blessing and dope to see. Because people are so accustomed to living a stereotypical life, but you are breaking that mold, especially for your family, for your culture, your age group, everything. And I think it's very dope. What would you say, since you're someone of such knowledge when it comes to the city and such influence, when it comes to the city, because you've been around such, a large demographic of young kids, especially now that we know you're part of the school board and you're doing a lot of programs soon, or the ones that you've already done, and events and stuff of that nature. I think you said you have a summer one coming up, or is it?
So one of the things that so for Millennial RI, which is different from what I was talking off podcast, we have an entrepreneurial pitch scholarship program with the Lieutenant Governor's office. We had to take a pause last year because of the transition between the governor and lieutenant governor this year, but pretty much we've handed out. Actually, Providence Detailing was one of the winners for the entrepreneurial pitch scholarship.
Okay, he told me about this.
Yeah,
at the Met.
So Met, but I think we were at Lincoln. I think we were at Lincoln CCRI where they won and they did it. Yeah, it was number one, best hands down business, which is great. I was like, yes, a Providence business.
Yeah, shout out to Alejandro. Yeah. Alejandro, he's a beast.
But yeah, we have a partnership with them where we help fundraise some money, get some judges, and high schoolers go out and apply, pitch a business, and we just give scholarship dollars. And through my employer, I get an opportunity to create some either after school programs for financial literacy, summer programs with financial literacy. That's some of the stuff I'm working on now. And why that's so important to me is because when I was in school, like, the opportunity to learn about credit, financial literacy, right? Like all these things, like that was very foreign to me. I didn't learn about any of this stuff until, in my mid-20s. I was 26, probably definitely with a really bad credit, not much in my savings account, driving around a 99 Pontiac that had the airbag popped out that was like with duct tape, and like one of the radar I don't know, some metal piece like sticking on the ground, like driving that. Still doing good in my dating life at that point when I was single, which was surprising. But that's how I was driving around. Oh, and no radio and no heat. I mean, and no AC, no AC. So I'll drive around in the summer.
Been there.
Yeah. So I think that's important. The reason why, I put myself in that situation, because I wasn't, saving my money. I was spending my money recklessly. I didn't really care about credit and all that. So as much as I can bring that education to people, whether that's in high schools or young professionals, which we've done a lot of that work throughout the years with Millennial RI, educated about, hundreds of young professionals that are buying a first home, setting up a budget, all of those different topics. It's important because I don't think we talk about money enough in our culture, in our society. A lot of people are kind of afraid to talk about money. And
I agree. I say that shit a lot. It's like I guess because it's intimidating. But you got to talk about it.
Gotta learn, yeah.
You gotta talk about it. So.
Yeah, and I was gonna say the main question, especially to end it, because you said all that stuff so beautifully. So now, when it comes to this city, because obviously this is something that is affecting all the seeds and your seeding. You're part of the seeding process. I like saying with the city and the young people, entrepreneurs, or just children now in school. But now the future. Where do you see the future of Providence 5 to 10 years from now?
So that's interesting. In 2014, I came out of college, and I had, I think, like $100, and I bought business cards that said my name. It said where I graduated college, graduated from Rhode Island College, my email number, and I was like passing those cards everywhere. At Rhode Island College, I was student body president. I was really active, really engaged, right? First, my family graduated college. I got to grow a network. I love this city. I want to be involved in this city. I want to be active. It led me to go meet with Judge Alorza at the time, right? So I'm riding around with him for 7 months. He goes against a lot of the individuals that they thought would be mayor. Obviously, once famous Buddy Cianci. So I think about the city in 2014, where I was like door knocking, meeting with a lot of different individuals through this campaign, and Buddy didn't lose by that much, right? An individual that a lot of people love, right?
Nostalgia.
A lot of historic things happen under his administration, but then you could talk about the corruption and a lot of those aspects too. And Alorza didn't win by a lot. He won, but
Close call.
Yeah. So all right, let's fast forward to where we're at now. It's a city that I just went apartment shopping. I haven't went that route to go buy a house yet for a whole host of reasons. And rental prices are crazy in the city. So I don't know what type of individuals are going to be able to live in the city when you're talking about
Future
5 to 10 years, especially when you have individuals that can come from Boston, do remote work, escape a lot of the really tough rents that exist in Boston. Yeah. And they can live in Providence or live nearby in Rhode Island. So that's a big fear. The schools have not gotten better in the past 8 years, right? I think anyone, that's not a controversial statement. I think anyone would agree. You could add a little COVID to it. It's under state control, so it makes it more difficult for families and students to feel engaged in terms of the process of holding control over their education. And we talked about the pension aspect, like the city financially has its troubles and issues.
Yeah.
But then we have a lot of people that are creators, that are making it, doing their thing, and figuring out a way to keep the city thriving, whether that's individuals like yourself promoting Providence through, the number one platform that's being produced in Rhode Island, right, to put people of Providence onto a bigger platform. You got individuals that are starting up restaurants, buying houses, becoming landlords, putting people on in general. And as much as we could say negatively about the Providence public schools, we have a lot of great individuals that graduate through our school system, right? We have great colleges. I love downtown and I love Broad Street. I love just the culture of the city. I guess my number one fear for the next 5 to 10 years, especially with rent control, the rents that exist here, the wages being stagnant, just like the high cost of living that can exist, will we be able to retain that culture in the city? And since we have an election, especially for, mayor and for big positions, individuals that love the city really need to hold the individuals that want to run accountable, right? What are you going to do about housing? Like, give me a plan for today. Don't say we're going to build X amount of units, 10 years. No, there's rent. There are families in the city that got rent increases 40%, right? Just randomly. It's like, hey, you were paying this rent?
Yeah.
Yesterday's price, not today's price, right? Like, that's everything.
Yeah.
40%, you got to deal with it, right?
Yeah. It should be illegal, but it's legal and it's happening.
Broad Street, I saw, I grew up on Public Street. I saw an apartment there, 1-bedroom apartment being advertised on Zillow for 1 bedroom, $1,500. Legitimately, when I'm out here apartments, and in every single apartment I'm going into with my girlfriend, we both make good money. We're young professionals. People know us. We're out in the community, et cetera, et cetera. We could afford, obviously, like to live downtown if we want, but then you don't want to spend all this extra money and then be kind of like handicapped on all these things. So we're going to apartments. We think like, we're gonna do this, and in our gap year between when we try to buy a home or something like that, and whether it's apartment 1600 on West End, there's like 20 people that I don't think is really from the city. So for me, like, I'm born and raised in the city. I'm trying to live in the city. I'm trying to invest in the city. I'm trying to do everything I can to own. If I have a family, have kids that come through here, but the business I'm part of, Papis Coquito, we're in Pawtucket, right? And it comes to a point where it's like, how much can someone like me, who's been a huge cheerleader for this city, right, in a lot of ways I want to do, and legitimately, even right now, like sacrificing, like taking my girlfriend, I'm like, look, hey, I know you're looking at houses in Warwick, I know you're looking at places in Cranston, but let's try to stay in this city. I also want to make a difference in the school system. How much where it becomes like, is it arrogance? Is it become like it just goes against what is feasible, what I really should be doing, what's best for my interests in the city, whereas I see other people and they can just afford it, they come out of state, and I'm the true Rhode Island guy, right, in that aspect. But if I feel like I'm being pushed out, God, I can't imagine. My family, they live in Providence their whole life. They bought a house in Cranston for the best. Like, they got a pool and everything like that. And I think that's part of breaking generational poverty sometimes. Like, your family got a pool and, like, that's part of it.
Symbolic.
Yeah, symbolic, right? So that's great. But it was also kind of like, they live in Providence, forever. But, as Cranston was the, that was the success and a complete blessing and all that. So for the future of the city, I am part optimistic because I do think the younger generations want to see change. But then there's kind of like this realism aspect where I don't know if our policy makers are looking to make an impact like right now, especially when it comes to housing, especially when it comes to education. And when you fast forward 10 years from now, I fear you're going to get a lot of talented people that were born and raised here, want to invest in here, and they bought that suburban house somewhere. So what's the culture of the city?
Yeah.
And what do we want it to be?
That's true. That's very true. Perfectly stated. I agree. It's scary right now. I know someone specifically, they're probably going to announce it publicly on their own time, but someone specifically that's impactful in the city, and they're permanently moving. I learned today they're permanently moving out of the city to Atlanta, I believe. And that's not just a single story. Like, you hear that a lot. It's been happening. A lot of people are deciding to do these type of situations, especially because of the common sense. Like, oh, I can't afford this, then let me make my life easier. Why make my life harder? So a lot of the culture aspect of things is going to be in question because people, obviously, it's survival of the fittest. Like, you rather, save money, look at different options for your family. If you got to leave the city, you got to leave the state. It's doable. So why not do it? A lot of people are looking at it like, why not do it? So that's the case for a lot of people. I'm here though. I'll try to be here as long as I can. I think I want to be here forever. Strangely enough.
Yeah, and your platform, everything you created. Like, how do we get the city to invest in this to make sure you grow, right? Even though you're not located in Providence, right? Which is another thing.
One
right?
exit away.
One exit away, though, right? Really, really close. But
No,
again,
I wanted to,
how do
but
we
I
get the
wanted to.
state? How do we It's just it goes back to not only how do we protect our creators of color, but how do we uplift? And this city says we're the creative capital. Providence is creative capital.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so how are we investing in our creators? Like, bike lanes are cool and great, but again, how do we make sure individuals are getting access to grants, investments, building their businesses? I think about young artists like Isanel. You have had Isanel probably a good podcast, but like
Send me the information.
Yeah, no, she's killing it, putting murals out everywhere. And I'd be thinking like, yo, can the city invest in her in terms of like helping her build a business? And maybe a lot of that's happened, but I don't. It's like I want a mayor that's gonna be like, yo, did you see the CA pod? Did you see Isanel's mural? Did you see this young artist?
Isanel, yes,
music?
I know Isanel.
Yeah.
I thought it was. I never met her, but I thought it was I thought it was pronounced differently, but I've definitely seen her work. I want to have her on the podcast soon. She's definitely going crazy, going hard, doing murals for all the restaurants, all the clubs, all the fucking. I think she did all like those what are those things that are on the corner of almost of every street? Like the electricity boxes. She paints them very beautifully as well. But yeah, I agree with you. Hey man, Jorge Lores the mayor. Anybody listening? Providence, Rhode Island. Give me 1% of that bike lane budget,
and I'm not anti-bike lane.
And see what I'm gonna do with that money, because god damn it, I swear to God,
and I'm not.
I like bike lanes, but in the proper places. I'm not gonna lie.
Who's biking? Nobody biking.
I don't know.
Biking. People are
No,
biking.
people are biking.
The gas, but it's like, come on,
gas
like,
prices, I can see it now.
there's a bike lane on Manton.
Come
on.
Yeah, I live on Manton, and that's so crazy, man. That bike lane.
That shit lasted a day.
Yeah,
That
it
shit
got
that shit
destroyed.
got destroyed the next. Come on, bro.
Yeah, it got
Fuck
destroyed
outta
really
here, man.
easily, really fast.
But like, how many press conferences we had about that? Again, I'm not anti-bike lane. When I traveled to Amsterdam and I've seen other, I'm like, all right, like I can see a concept of the future,
Yeah,
except the winter, right?
Exactly.
Except the winter.
Thing. That's the thing.
But and maybe people that are bike activists. There's a whole host of reasons, even safety reasons, because like Broad Street can maybe use streets a little narrow. I don't know, things like that. That people be driving a little too reckless. But we put press conferences out like that, and I think those things are important for the future of the city. But where's a press conference about? Hey, rent's increasing.
Yeah,
I saw $1,500 one bedroom apartments. Where is the candidates and the people that are like, rent is increasing, this is my plan right now because I'm angry?
Yeah.
I don't see a lot of anger. And, I felt that way
That's
when
the
I was
problem.
going apartment searching. I'm like, I'm angry. I'm in a position where it's just like, I try to make my own change in my own way. And, I advocate on these issues. But what I really need to see just more energy and more anger, feeling that people don't feel their kids are safe in school.
Yeah.
People can't afford these rents and these housing prices going on. People are looking for jobs and opportunities. People want to start business.
Yeah.
Pretty sure you would love to have had your studio in Providence, right?
Mhm.
People want someone in their elected office going to cheerlead the city. And we need that consistently.
100%.
And if we have that, if we get people that like y'all holding individuals accountable, and again doing your quick Googles on who's the candidates and who's best to serve, and you go and vote,
Make some changes.
that's the way to do it. And these people are free. You can run into these people all the time. Ask them.
Yeah.
Be like, hey, what are you gonna do about this?
Yeah. No, I believe it. Listen, give me how old am I now? I'm 24. Give me 6 years. I might run for mayor if I feel like it.
If you want.
6 years, maybe less. Who knows? I might.
It's every 4 years a cycle, so you have to do 4 or 8.
All right. But I think a lot of change is definitely needed. It's a sense of where it's beautiful, and they're trying to make it more beautiful, but it's like you can only paint a pile of shit with fucking beautiful paint for so long. It's like there's a problem here. You got to fix it. Like there's actual situations that, you know, damn near life or death. Like people are worried about their money, worried about the house that they're living in, the roof over their heads. I'm pretty sure, like, the bike lane looks beautiful, but they don't care about a bike lane. They care more about, like, what can be done about this rent. Is my landlord allowed to raise this much? Can the city do something about this? So, you know, I think there's different lanes, you know, pun intended, that can be taken. But
we get some mayoral candidates on. We talked about that.
Definitely.
Ask them the tough questions.
100%. You know, because the bike lane is just tip of the iceberg.
And again, I'm not anti.
What is it, like a bike lane Twitter that's gonna cancel you or something? It's like a bike lane movement.
No. They're strong.
Wow,
they're strong.
I didn't know
Twitter.
this.
I'm talking about on policy aspect. I'm not.
I've seen some though. I'm not gonna lie. I did see some like respond to like certain tweets on the bike lane thing, and I was like,
Nah, they strong.
Wow,
they strong.
And
I got some people.
Bro, I'm telling you, bro, out of a week, I maybe see like 2 people on the bike lane.
But
fuck them bike lanes.
Yeah, man, those bike lanes, man, they're pretty. But listen, all right, that might be the name of the episode, bike lane. But we appreciate you coming in for this episode, Travis. 100% appreciate you talking about everything locally, culturally, and just giving your insight on everything. I appreciate you, and yeah, thank you again.
Thank you, brother.
Appreciate it.
Much love.
Yeah, appreciate it, buddy.
Episode 34. We have it. Cap, and we're out. Love.
They gon' love me for my ambition.